your Johnny get New Year coming. And if you want to be merry, drink guava berry. And if you get it digital, drink rouge and bitters. Mama make your Johnny get Christmas coming. Mama make your Johnny get Christmas coming. And if you want to be merry, drink guava berry. And when you get it digital, drink rouge and bitters.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What is up? What is going on? Salute to everybody in the building, man. I appreciate everybody that comes through. Please smash that like button. Please subscribe if you're new to Democracy 101. Democracy 101 is trying to grow. We're trying to grow this thing. We're trying to run this thing up. And we're also trying to grow within the pro democracy movement. So, AC, my brother.
Yes, sir. What's going on, man? Salute.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Salute, salute. By the way, shout out to Stanley on the 10 Sleepless Nights. I just played one of their iconic songs down there, Mama Make the Johnny Cake, Bake Your Johnny Cake. Um, just an iconic figure. Stanley has been on the road since the 1960s. Every Christmas, he walks the entire island with his band, and they have a little parade behind them. That it started completely organically in 1960, and he's still doing it today. Him and all his bandmates. So I just want to shout out my culture, shout out my people right down there. But this is gonna be a good show. We got some topics to get into, some pretty funny topics. Anything that been on your mind recently, AC? Before we get into the show?
Yeah, the one thing that's kind of been on my mind. I don't know if we're gonna cover it. Was we just saw the whole hoopla and death threats and all of this other weird shit. Because
Watch your cousin. Watch your cousin, AC.
yeah, definitely. Because we watched what happened with the five Democrats, if I'm correct, five maybe six total, that were saying, listen, if you're the military, and all of these Democrats were members of the armed forces in some capacity that really served, and they said, listen, go back to your manual. If you are hearing illegal orders, you don't have to follow them. Now, with that being said, and looking at all of that, within that time frame, they decide to take a oil tanker. So I'm just like, okay, who's the admiral who's doing this? Who are the soldiers who just did this? Who is the ship captain and corporals and whoever who made this order and then said we're illegally going to go and basically carjack this oil tanker and then hold it for ransom for whatever reason to provoke something. So I'm just perplexed at members of the military who are still willing to follow direct, clear, illegal orders. So that's just the only thing
Oh, my
that's
bad. I
kind
was
of
on mute. No, absolutely. Those people are putting themselves in legal jeopardy, but you got to understand to disobey any order, whether it's illegal or not, that situation you still putting yourself in legal jeopardy. Cause I read through and it said if a soldier disobeys an order believing it to be lawful, he still is liable for criminal charges. So you got like to the members of the military, man. I respect y'all and I respect your work so much because this is the moment when y'all gotta stand the line. And those men that went down there and took that oil tanker, whoever was in charge of that operation, they got some questions to answer. But we're gonna discuss that oil tanker situation as well as the situation going on down there in the Caribbean and South America in general. But the first topic I wanted to get into, AC, over the weekend, conservative media spaces have been blowing up Milo Yiannopoulos. For those of you who don't know who Milo is, he is the original right wing culture warrior, free speech advocate. And it's so interesting is because he's openly he openly swings on the other side of the fence. But ever since I was like 13, 14 years old, I always liked Milo because he was he was trying to be offensive, especially during a time when I looked at all the leftists and the liberals and the people who were pushing woke. I looked at them like, yeah, bro, y'all are a bunch of nerds. I don't like you people. But I appreciated Milo because he would go out of his way to offend somebody. Now, the way in which he would offend you would be intellectual. Like he would call out things that you've actually done and said, and then try to compare it to other situations to make the person he was going against look like a hypocrite. And he was very successful at doing it. In recent years, Milo, I mean, he's been kind of low key, but he popped back up yesterday, or excuse me, not yesterday. It was last weekend on Tim Pool's podcast. And funny enough, the other gay right winger that was on the show was George Santos, who, for those of you who don't know, George Santos is a former Republican congressman who was just convicted of multiple fraud charges, defrauding people of their money through a charity he was running, and Trump pardoned him, and even waived all of the criminal restitution he has to pay to those people. So Milo gets on there and he makes I ain't gonna say it's a shocking allegation about Benny Johnson, who is another right wing voice. But we're gonna touch on there seems to be a bit of Rainbow Rider undertone with all these right wingers. And it's so funny because these are the people who keep perpetuating this message and we had BVO and B3 up here talking about homosexuality is an abomination. These are the people that talk that stuff. They talk about you need to get yourself a wife and family by the time you're 18 years old. No excuses. These are the type of guys they are. But let me play the clip of what Milo had to say. It's funny.
One of the most distinctive things about the right wing in this country is its homosexual overtones. Benny Johnson posts pictures of his children every 2 days. It's weird. And everybody knows what went on with Benny Johnson in those lobbies and in those hotel rooms at SAS. Everybody knows.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Men. Younger men, not underage. At least I don't know that. His wife was crying drunk in the lobby 3 SASs in a row about how her husband was upstairs with boys.
Come on.
Go ask her.
Come on.
Go ask her.
Come on, Milo.
Go ask her.
Milo, aren't you ever scared of getting sued? You say some crazy... I'm sitting here like I am humbled by the lore and your ability
the audacity.
There's no teapots in this room right now to express how I feel.
George, I have said these things about people for 20 years and never once in my career been sued. I've issued 3 corrections in my entire journalistic career because I get my facts right and people know that they do not want to go through discovery.
Actually, I want to say this.
I've never been sued for anything I've ever said about anyone.
The one thing I need to say this.
Because I'm right.
The most terrifying thing.
So you heard what Milo said. He lodged a pretty serious allegation against Mr. Benny Johnson. Since then, Benny Johnson responded on Twitter. Let me get his tweet up. Give me one sec. Yeah, here it is. And he says, I am duty bound to take action to protect my family against those who maliciously defame and attack us. More to come on that soon. Pray for healing for some really sick and delusional people. Jesus is about redemption. The legal system is about justice. Happy Sunday. And by the way, let me just play a clip of Benny Johnson talking so that people watching AC knows who Benny Johnson is. So people who are watching who don't know him, you can get a real feel for this type of guy.
This is what it looks like to be unshakable, ladies and gentlemen. Let me explain that. Young men, we're just going to cut right to it. If you want to be an immovable mountain in your life, if you wish to be a strong alpha, I beg you, find a woman, fall in love, get married, have more children than you can afford, have insane amounts of kids. There's nothing the world can do to shake you if you do those simple steps. And if you acknowledge that God loves you and has a purpose for your life, that's...
Okay, so I want to say...
So firstly, that's just the worst advice you could ever give to any young person. Get married, have a bunch of kids, it'll be great. Your life will be awesome. There's nothing that's the worst advice you could ever give to any young person. Like, go out there, get your education, get your certification, get your degree. You know what I'm saying? Get a skill, get a trade, set yourself up to be financially independent and stable in the future. You know what I'm saying? That's what you should be focused on if you're a young man. But anyway, to that tweet I just read out from Benny Johnson earlier, Milo responded. I don't have the Milo tweet up because it was so long. Like, it was about 5 or 6 paragraphs of him going back at Benny Johnson. I'm not gonna read all of it because some of it is just, oh my God, some of it is just downright mean and cruel in some of the things he said about Benny Johnson's wife. But a piece of what I'll read is he responds. He says, "Dear free speech warrior Benny and dear Kate," which is Benny Johnson's wife, "a few notes for your consideration. I know more about defamation than any lawyer you will hire. Benny is a public figure. Malice is a non-starter. I have receipts. And the truth is a total defense against any claim of defamation or libel. Do you want to lose a defamation case to Milo Yiannopoulos, of all people, about whether or not you are gay? Do you even want to fight one? Do you even want to even fight one? The people who have poured money into making you a big deal are about to lose their entire investment." And he goes more into talking about, "I know more about your marriage than you think." So Betty John, I'm gonna let you come in just 1 second, AC. But this was just really funny to me, and we're gonna go a little deeper into it, and we're gonna discuss Nick Fuentes and the Groper movement next. But just a couple of things to note. Benny Johnson was a reporter at BuzzFeed before he was fired for plagiarism. These are just a couple of the headlines that Benny Johnson was writing about back when he was at BuzzFeed. And here's a couple of them. "This congressman uses DC's freezing weather as an excuse to look fabulous." The next one, "8 sexiest bachelors of Congress. Which president looks sexiest in a swimsuit? Congressman takes off shirt, flies through the air and into your heart." So, and then there's one more. A lot of people consider this to be the smoking gun piece of evidence that Benny Johnson is a closeted individual. So here he's complaining that when he goes to the Military Times publication website, that he's getting he's getting gay ads he's getting ads for gay cruises. Number one, I've been to the Military Times site many times. I have never gotten one of these. And the simple fact that he posted this, the simple fact that he got that ad is because he's going on allegedly, he would be going on gay hookup sites. And then that little part where they ask you about your preferences and will you accept cookies, he probably hit accept. And once you accept those cookies, the cookies, they communicate with other websites to find out what advertisement to push this person's way. And Benny Johnson, for whatever reason, got an ad for a gay cruise pushed his way. By the way, this is back in 2017. The last piece of damning evidence toward, I don't know if you could call it evidence or claims, but Saeed Jones, another reporter who worked at BuzzFeed, this tweet is from 2024. He says, I quote, I made out with Benny Johnson in an empty dressing room at BuzzFeed's holiday party in 2023. It haunts me to this day. Anyway, it's funny that he's done literally everything but come out of the closet. Men will literally become traitors to their country rather than go to therapy. He then goes on to say, Betty, who performed at the holiday party BF hosted at Webster Hall in 2013, everybody got slushed because of the open bar. Benny and I went into a dressing room and started kissing. Would have gone further, but he said something cringe enough to snap me back to reality, to snap me back to my senses, and I rolled my eyes and left. He then the last statement he said, anyway, I'm definitely not the only guy Benny Johnson has made out with. I've heard him and his wife are swingers. She's pregnant with their fourth child now, which, oh my God. But he leaves that blank. He then says, when I warn y'all about sleeper agents, I'm speaking from experience. Demons walk amongst us. Now, listen, I don't got no problem. If Benny Johnson wants to swing on that side of the fence, I ain't got no problem with that. I ain't got no problem with any individual who decides that that they want to engage in homosexual activity. If you are a consenting adult, do your thing. You know what I'm saying? I believe in freedom. I don't think the government or any individual has a right to conduct to try and conduct to try and conduct what goes on in another person's bedroom. But when you're one of these pray to gay away type of figures, when you're one of these people who try to say who B3 said it last week. That's something Benny Johnson has said, that there's a causality with children being assaulted and violated. There's a causality with that and men becoming homosexuals. When you're one of those people, bro, don't let us find out you a closeted gay man. Don't do that, bro. And then you posting your family every 2 days. Now I'm gonna be honest. I believe Milo, and I pray to God Benny Johnson is dumb enough to actually go through with that lawsuit. I pray to God he is. But AC, I'm gonna come to you. What's your reaction? I mean, you've known some of these things already, but what's your reaction to Milo coming out and adding a new layer of detail and saying that he has witnesses?
Well, what people may not understand or may not appreciate or however you want to try to describe it, the issue is this. Gay men talk to each other like dudes talk to each other, and just like women talk to each other. If you're within a certain bubble and this is your viewpoint on the world, you're going to seek out like minds. And within those like minds, you may become an influencer, you may become, somebody that's big and things like that in that space. And people are going to send you information. People are going to drop little hints, and you're going to notice something, a tweet that may come across your timeline or whatever, and you just look at it like, what? And then you go down that rabbit hole, and then there's full exposure. So it's that old saying, if you laying down with dogs that have fleas, what's the likelihood you gonna get fleas? So that's just what it is, and it's just that simple for me. For old boy to come out and say it, okay, now we have some sort of confirmation. I appreciate what old boy was saying, because he just let them know, listen, I've been saying stuff like this for years, and ain't nobody never ever come
And
at me
I check
with a
Milo's record. He
defamation.
ain't never been sued. Go
Yeah,
ahead, AC. I just wanted to say that.
yeah.
Never.
He said, listen, out of everything that I said over all the years, I said I only had to make 3 corrections 3 corrections. That is, you don't get stuff like that at times from top anchor people, whether you're on the right or the left side that are involved in political news and things like that. It may be somebody else, or on behalf of the network, they may want to make that correction, but that guy may not make that correction. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes down to that, I think for me personally, you have a lot more credibility than someone who's not saying no, who's not responding to it, but they're trying to figure out what's the best way I can respond to this thing without exposing myself even further. And all boy is saying, and what many people on the America First side, whether you're one of those right wing nutcases and things like that are on that America First bandwagon. The issue is this: they don't have a problem with you. They really don't. They just don't want your lifestyle to be, as they say, to be forced down. And I don't see where it's being forced down on anybody's throat. But they don't have a problem with who you want to be with. It's just the super MAGA nuts that have that issue. The alpha male MAGA, what's his name? Gorkin or whatever his name is. Those type of dudes. We just saw what happened with what's the black dude? Not Jesse something, the old guy.
Oh, Jussie Smollett?
No. He's that Jesse Smollett was the actor. I'm talking about the old guy that used to try to pair up with Sebastian Gorka and a couple of these so-called alpha male dudes, and he was like the black voice of the alpha male, but he had this weird voice like, do you like women? Women and black women. He was some I can't remember his name. I'll try to find him again. But at the end of the day, people found out that he was a closet. He was in a closet. But we could just give him the nickname of Closet.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it's just like it's being proven. Those with the loudest voices who are adamantly super no, I don't even want them to exist on the planet. If I'm sitting on the bus, I want to get off the bus because I don't want their homosexual carbon dioxide to get in my body and then make me have those kind of thoughts and whatever. And it's just like, bro, that's like thinking you're gonna get pregnant from sitting on a toilet seat. So
Bruh.
so they these guys that have these weird viewpoints, you got to start questioning them. Like, how can you stand on that? If you're comfortable within your own manhood, you're comfortable within who you are, you could stand anywhere and not feel any certain way. I'm comfortable in who I am, and that aura of that comfortability is going to take over this room in a certain sense. To whereas they say, yeah, when he comes in the room, he owns the room and commands it. If you're comfortable in how you feel about your own sexuality, then you're going to be one of those men in the room who's owning it and comfortable in your own skin. If you're not, you're gonna have different.
You're gonna be that quiet dude in the corner by himself drinking.
Yeah,
And
and
then when you get up out of there, you're gonna have crap to say about people.
Yeah, and with the weird look on your face, like, yeah, I can't believe he brought me into that type of bar, and I didn't really know. Okay, so 2 minutes after you got there, if you on that type of time you on, why did you stay there? You could have left at any point. You could have walked in and first saw, the first 2 village people and said, oh, no, this ain't my crowd.
Nah, but he was comfy there.
Yeah.
That's how you catch. That's how you catch a lot of them, especially there was a lot of mob guys that were getting caught in New York at the gay clubs at the gay clubs because the mob, or I think you know more about it, but the gay clubs and I'm trying to remember what's the name of that place that had the big riot, which pretty much started LGBTQ activism. But
Uh, um, I think it was either Zanzibar or Palladium. Zanzibar, Palladium,
yeah,
one of those
but
type of clubs.
you remember Paulie from The Soprano, or no, not Paul, was it I think it was Paul. No, it wasn't Paulie. Who was it? It was one of them guys, but they caught him in a gay joint, and he was
Yeah,
one of them dudes who was taught. He was like the most masculine machismo Italian dude you would ever meet, to a wife and kids. Da 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 da. I gotta have my clothes ironed, and da, 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 I gotta have my coffee a certain way. Like he was one of those dudes. He was a rainbow rider,
yeah,
and that's how I look at a lot of these guys. And moving on, AC, Nick Fuentes. And these two topics connect to each other because I think people like Benny Johnson and Carly Zerk. I'm not gonna say his name. I don't want YouTube to drop the hammer on me. They have created an entire generation of repressed gay men. They have created a generation of people called incels. For those of you who don't know what incels are, it means involuntary celibate. And there's actually these weird 20-something-year-olds and teenagers who they say, oh, we can't stand women. Women are so dumb and da 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 da. Oh, I would never even want to have sex with a woman. Huh?
yeah.
And then at the same time they try to pose themselves as alpha males, but it's like did I just hear that correctly? And earlier this year, and by the way, they also have another name for this incel movement. They call themselves groypers, which they're trying to essentially co-opt the American first right-wing vision. But anyways, to Nick Fuentes. Nick
But real quick,
Fuentes,
I just wanted to say this. His name was Jesse Lee Peterson.
Jesse Lee P. Oh my God, yeah, I remember that.
Yes, yes.
And then it came out that he had like a whole like dungeon set up in his house.
And they had the receipts on him with him calling in the mail call girls and stuff like that. Like, bruh, come on,
bro. Like, I don't know what. Like, these people are sick in the soul. These people are sick in the soul. Like, there's no other way to explain that, bro. You make a whole life on bashing yourself.
Yep.
You're not only a gay man, he's a black man.
Yep.
And he constantly craps on black people.
It was amazing the way he was trying to talk to David Pakman. And then you find out.
Oh, yeah. It was David that really pulled it out on him and slammed him. Yeah.
Yeah, and then a couple of weeks later, this hammer drops on you. Bro, you should have never had David Pakman on your show. It opened the door because, like I said, they all are they know. They know it's like, yo, you know what I'm saying? They know people talk. You know, just like me and you and me and other content creators and stuff like that, we talk behind the scenes. We text each other different bits of information.
No, absolutely. But staying on Nick Fuentes for a second, I just want to let me play this clip. He went on Piers Morgan last week. Huge interview, hugely anticipated interview. I think it did over 10 million views within 5 days. And here is Piers, literally. I mean, I would just say he's son Nick Fuentes. Let me say that.
But are you actually attracted to women?
I am attracted to women.
You're not gay?
No. But I will say that women are very difficult to be around.
Okay.
So there's that.
And do you think they should have the right to vote?
I do not. No, absolutely not.
They should stay at home?
Well, yeah, absolutely.
See, basically, you're just a misogynist old dinosaur, aren't you? For a young guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I'm the
Yeah.
boomer. I know I'm the boomer here, but actually, you're a 27-year-old dinosaur, aren't you? Aren't you, Nick Fuentes? All women.
I am.
All women are annoying. All women grow
fossil.
old. They all get fat. Says the guy. Have you ever had sex?
No, absolutely not.
Wow. Says the guy who's never got laid.
Something wrong with you, bro. You are like literally the 30-year-old. You are literally the 30-year-old virgin. And for me to look at a grown man who feels that women shouldn't
Can you hear
vote.
me, AC?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, sorry, I got a phone call. No, but yeah, that was Nick Fuentes on Piers Morgan, and you heard right there. Like, I don't know how anybody takes these people seriously. I don't know how anybody takes these people seriously. And then on top of the fact, Nick Fuentes is extremely homophobic. Let me just oh damn, I don't got the exact picture of the quote, but there's a quote of him just like last week with BVO and B3. He was saying that there's causality between PDF files and swinging on the wrong side of the fence. This is Nick Fuentes with his roommate. Okay? This is a man taking a picture of another grown man while he's sleeping. Then after the roommate turned up on him and like, dude, that was really weird. Why would you post that picture? And was saying, I'm getting the hell up out of here. Don't ever talk to me again. By the way, this roommate he's taking a picture of has a girlfriend. And this is Nick Fuentes. I'm sorry, I just want to take the time out of my day to just show, like, these people are a bunch of rainbow riders. Like, all this talk about alpha males and being strong and standing up and being tough. Y'all are a bunch of rainbow riders. And what's even worse is y'all cannot just come out and say it. So you got to take everybody else through this hoopla of mind screwing them to make them believe, oh no, he just, women are just annoying. Women just, they talk too much. That's why Nick doesn't want to engage with them or have any sex with them. You know what I'm saying? Nick is standing on business. No, the man is a rainbow rider. And let me read this message that the roommate posted. He exposed Nick Fuentes. He's currently exposing him. He says, I don't know. Nick says, I don't know if you have a short memory or what, but this has been an evolving conversation, and you know it. It didn't start out like this. I didn't start out this way. I've done a lot of nice things above and beyond for you. Not like you owe me. I do it because I want to. But then you don't go two steps out of your way for me. I only bring up the girlfriend as contrast. You go out of your way for her. It shows you're capable of doing it, just not for me. Bro, just come out. Just come out the closet. Like, they have trapped an entire generation of young men, AC. There is an entire generation of young men, young gay men. I'm going to call them exactly, they're gay. These incel, like, bro, if you as a man are not attracted, or excuse me, if you as an adult male, or even a male going through puberty in your teens, if you don't have that attraction to women, if you don't have that thing that pushes you to go talk to them and try to engage and be nice, bro, you a rainbow rider. And there's nothing wrong with that. But stop with the games, bro. Like, you people are ridiculous. And then we got members of Congress doing this, AC. Mike Johnson, Lindsey Graham. All those boys got allegations out on them. But, AC, what's your reaction to Nick Fuentes in general? What's your feelings about him? And the fact that he is picking up a lot of steam amongst the right wing and Republicans. This weird guy who looks like he's 16 and 35 at the same time.
So we bring back history all over again. we bring back history all over again, because when you talk about politicians and the growth in that space, and you look at who are the leaders, from the top down, everything is supposed to, a snowball becomes an avalanche if it's rolling downhill. It doesn't become an avalanche rolling uphill, or just rolling on a horizontal plane. So when you look at Nick Fuentes and you look at his history and you look at his rhetoric and you look at everything else, it's a bunch of self-hate, self-incrimination, and that cognitive dissonance that all of these people suffer, because you are so pro anti, you know, gay, homosexual, but just like I was trying to make the points before, okay, tell me who are some of your favorite R&B singers, male ones. So you can't pick and choose where you want to have your gay outrage. You can listen to the music and have that passion in that song relate to your lady. Or you can listen to that music and have that passion relate to your partner. Now, as far as Nick Fuentes is concerned, you're a textbook example of your fame was built on your own self-hate. You were projecting at a rate that any secure within himself straight male would have listened to you and said, oh yeah, if he not, he curious. You know what I'm saying? The people who are saying, like myself, listen, I work with gay people. I'm cool with many gay people. I have no issues with anyone who's gay. So they'll look at me and be like, something's wrong with me. But that means you're telling me that me being 100% stable and knowing who I am and understanding everything about me, there's something that is abnormal, to whereas the normal behavior is me hiding who I am, being shameful who I am, hating who I am, and then projecting something else out. That's supposed to be normal behavior in 2025? Nah, bro, I'm not rocking with that. We keep saying just be yourself. Who are you? Just be yourself. So Nick, we don't know who you are. We're learning who you are after the fact that you got all of this fame. But many people could probably tell. There's probably many of your fans and followers are gay Republicans, and you might have a place, bro, in that party, because it would be crazy to think that only gay men reside within progressive, liberal, and Democrat party. That would be crazy.
But but you got to remember, AC, in
In
their
their circles,
minds,
that is the reality.
yeah, in their minds, homosexuality is something that you can turn on and off. Oh, you have a choice. No. And the fact that they know, especially somebody like Jesse Lee Peterson, the fact that they themselves know that that's a load of bull BS, and they continue to push this stuff. Well, I mean, I'm not surprised, man. People have done worse things for money, but still, y'all
Yes.
are some devils disguised as human beings, bro. Y'all are backwards. Yeah, I mean, these people are confusion. They just like the devil. They love confusion.
Yeah.
Any final words on Nick Fuentes before we move on?
Just my only final word is, Nick, embrace who you are. There is a legitimate space within the Republican Party that, you know, you'll have a lot of success. Just be yourself. If you want to be that, and have your male partner and move into those type of relationships, there's plenty of space for that, because in the clip that you played earlier, if old boy didn't go to jail and commit the crimes and wasn't a chronic liar, he would still be in the Republican Party.
Facts.
It's just that simple, bro. Mike Johnson is the leader. How long has Lindsey Graham been in the Republican Party? And we've never heard Lindsey Graham having a girlfriend, having a wife, or nothing. And I could go back to Lindsey Graham way back in the Bush eras. And he looked even sweeter then. Little twinkle in his eye, and properly cut and extra press suit and everything else. So God, just be who you are.
No, absolutely, absolutely. And I encourage every person to just be who they are. Do not repress yourself. That is not what God wants for you. God does not want you to hate yourself. Jesus Christ taught us to accept everybody and to judge nobody, because no man on this earth was born without sin. So I'll just end it there. The Rainbow Club needs to come out and just say it, bro. Y'all need to come out and just be honest with your followers and your people. But we're gonna move on. AC, we had some pretty big hearings going on in the House of Representatives today. Christine Noem, as well as another DHS appointee, and whose name was Mr. Thompson. I can't remember the name of the other individual, but the three of them got grilled. Something nasty. This is only Christine Noem's third congressional hearing, and she has been ducking, dodging, and hiding for as long as she could. And I don't have, and it's a damn shame. I don't have the clips of when the Democrats were really tearing into Christine Noem, but let me just play this clip with and I forget the representative's name, but he's a ranking Democrat on the House Homeland Security committee, and he asks Mr. Thompson, one of Christine Noem's appointees, he asks him about Antifa, because the guy says Antifa is the primary domestic terror threat in the United States. Wow. And like, bro, it is like he gets humiliated.
The Water Domestic Terrorist Organization, Antifa, that's our primary concern right now.
All right, that's what President Trump did. What does the FBI say?
We share the same view. When you look at the data right now, you look at the domestic terrorist threat that we're facing. Right now, what I see from my position is that's the most immediate violent threat that we're facing on the domestic side.
So where is Antifa headquartered?
What we're doing right now with the organization.
Where in the United States does Antifa exist? If it's a terrorist organization and you've identified it as number one.
We are building out the infrastructure right now.
So what does that mean? We're trying to get the information. You say Antifa is a terrorist organization. Tell us as a committee, how did you come to that? Where do they exist? How many members do they have in the United States as of right now?
Well, that's very fluid. It's ongoing for us to understand that. The same, no different than Al-Qaeda and ISIS.
No, I don't want you. I'll ask one question, sir. I just want you to tell us. If you said Antifa is the number one domestic terrorist organization operating in the United States, I just need to know where they are, how many people. I don't want a name. I don't want anything like that. Just how many people have you identified with the FBI that Antifa is made of?
Well, the investigations are active.
Sir, you wouldn't come to this committee and say something you can't prove, I know. I know you wouldn't do that. But you did.
Oh my God! Like that was an unaliving. Like, did you see the little hand movements he was doing? It looked like he was drowning and trying to swim out, bro. That
Mm-hmm.
was embarrassing. Like, these people haven't been doing nothing but terrorizing immigrants and brown people. That's all they've been doing these past 12 months. And then to come in there so it's so like a Trump. It's so like the Trump administration to come in there unprepared, as little information as possible, and just wings it. Then AC, they went in, and I'm so upset. I didn't have the time to record the rest of the hearing, but the Democrats grilled Kristi Noem. And each and every one of them were united in calling for her to resign. There was one gentleman, and I can't remember his name, but all he did was show a couple of the different people that Kristi Noem had deported. One gentleman was a Korean immigrant who served in the Marine Corps and who was involved in the invasion of Panama. Took 2 bullets for the United States. Was a Purple Heart recipient. He gets deported to Korea, where he hasn't been since he was 7 years old. Then he talks about a gentleman who was a landscaper, been in this country 30 years from Nicaragua. Never even had a traffic violation. Raised 3 Marines. Not 1, not 2, 3 Marines. He's raised 3 young men to be patriots and to go out there and risk their lives for this country. And they tackled him while he was cutting somebody's grass and beat him up. And right now he's still currently sitting in a detention center. They brought all those people out, and each time they brought up their stories, they told them to stand and they told Kristi Noem to thank that person for their service. They talked about an individual named Jim Brown, who I believe he served in the Air Force. Him and his wife are part-time preachers. Like, they go around helping people. They got a soup kitchen. I believe this lady was from Iran. They grab her, they tackle her, and they take her away. Then there was another story that discussed a U.S. citizen, a pregnant woman, AC. They had her handcuffed behind her back for hours, and she went on to lose the baby. This was an American citizen, and I want to pray people. These are the people who love to come out and say abortion is wrong, abortion is murder. Oh, you're unaliving a baby. Border Patrol actually unalived a baby. If that's the case, and if that's what you believe, why are y'all not outraged? An American citizen child, by their definition, was unalived. Like that was just a brutal grilling. And then they also went into some lies Kristi Noem told under the oath, some demonstrable lies. But AC, and after you talk, AC, we're gonna touch on. Oh, there's my brother Just Ask Juan. Yes, sir. Bodega One.
What's going on with
you
you,
doing?
dog? Let's go with you.
Salute to my guy Just Ask Juan. Juan got his own channel. Go ahead and check that out, man. He talks boxing. He's a great Puerto Rican.
Hey, yo, that's crazy.
Well, I say it like this, man. To have that woman step down is just part of it. You know, I don't at this particular stage, it's like what New York City detectives do sometimes, and you see it in other states as well. Sometimes when you got them dead to rights, you might as well, just start feeding them length of rope so they can hang themselves even worse. Like, listen, I just gave you a rope. You the one who made the noose. You the one who threw the noose over the tree limb. So you've been hanging yourself. So the best thing you could do is just get up and walk straight to the jail. I don't want you to resign. Just walk straight to the jail. That's pretty much it. Since you don't want to give none of them their justification and their rights to face the jury and stuff like that. In fact, you just walk straight to the jail. Go lock yourself in. Self incarcerate. That's what we're talking about. You ask these people to self deport. We're asking you to self incarcerate. And we're asking more than all of the Trump administration. We're asking all you guys, all you generals, to just self-incarcerate. And we will send you notifications because you'll be safer inside of a prison cell when all of this stuff is done than you actually being able to walk the streets. So my point is this. Miss Barbie, Miss, I want to play dress up for the occasion so I can take that flick and then post it to my account, my social media account, to show, yeah, we're in the middle of this. And then you make that commercial that incriminates yourself. And it kills me that YouTube keeps playing this propaganda where she shows the so-called gang member. I don't, the guy with the tattoos all over his face, and says, well, if you're in this country illegally, then this plane is where your destination should be. Well, here's one for you guys. Melania Trump lied on her visa application. We all know she lied. We all know the type of visa she has. She was never ever qualified for it. I don't know what sort of education you get from sliding down the pole or letting Russian, people take nude pictures of you. Where you are Jeffrey Epstein.
Bro, I got the pictures, AC. I got the pictures.
Exactly, and you were a Jeffrey Epstein girl and stuff like that. To whereas Ed might have smashed before Trump did.
Well, one second. Well, I'm gonna let you. What you say?
That's Trump's wife, right, or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's Christy Noam that's on the screen. That's the
not the screen, not the screen. I know who that is. The lady he talking about. That's
Melania,
Trump's wife, right?
Melania.
Yeah.
Melania.
Yeah, T.I. We even know T.I. had some dealings with you, lady.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about T.I. I forgot what T.I. said.
So, yeah, that's the example of the first lady, and these are the people that, are in charge right now. So my point to Miss Christy Noem is, your time is limited. You will probably see a jail cell if, the Democrats get back in power and choose a real prosecutor.
Lord.
And that's where I land my plane.
Yeah, not no Merrick Garland, Rainbow Rider. But Bodega One, I was just discussing.
Not the Rainbow Rider.
Yeah, that's the term. That's the term we're gonna use for.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I can't say Fudge Packer. They said YouTube might get you for Fudge Packer, so I gotta go with Rainbow Rider.
That's crazy.
But Bodega One, we were just discussing this lady right here, Christy Noem. She got grilled today at the House of Representatives Homeland Security Committee. One thing that was also brought up, and I'll let you give your thoughts if you have any thoughts, Juan. One thing that was also brought up, Christy Noem removed $145 million in Homeland Security grants for them to arm their city and for them to protect against terrorism, because New York is considered the #1 target for terrorism in the United States of America for obvious reasons.
Right.
She removed $145 million. Then a scandal came out last week that her friend's husband was getting $100 million contract with the Department of Homeland Security to shoot commercials and little clips and videos to put on TikTok and whatever. $100 million.
Mm-hmm.
And then she doubled back and paid $200 million for 2 private jets. I don't know why you need 2 private jets. Why do you need 2 private jets? I don't get none of that. And then on top of the fact, Bodega One, and I say this to be real, because I love you, One. You one of my good brothers.
Of
You
course.
from Puerto Rico, you descended from Puerto Rico, you an island boy. But the
Island
shit that this
boy.
lady is doing, one of these days, a man might walk up to you, One, and ask, were you born in this country?
Yeah.
And I don't like knowing you you're a good dude. I'm not sure how you gonna react to to a bunch of grown men surrounding you like that.
I'm gonna punch him in
But
the yeah. Well, you know what? Like, I can't say
yeah,
that.
go ahead. Give your thoughts. Give your
I
thoughts. Go
can't.
ahead.
I can't. On the thought of that, I can't tell you that because I don't want YouTube, to flag you or anything. So I'm gonna just leave that one alone. But my thoughts is, this is what we've been dealing with for years, bro. Like, dudes gotta understand, like, and this is the thing, like, right, when I'm talking to people that like, be like, oh, I voted for Trump, right? I have a coworker, not even a coworker, he's an employee. He's one of my employees that said I voted for Trump, and I said to him, as a person that is relatively, you're poor, you're not rich. I mean, you could be middle class, but I wouldn't even consider you middle class because you're making about $35,000 a year working where we work at. You know what I'm saying? You're not really making a great amount of money as, in your position. So I tell him, I'm like, listen, right? What has the Trump administration has done for you? He's like, oh, well, they gave us the stimulus check and this and that. And I'm like, looking at him, I'm like, look, listen, right? Look how much money this dude has made, not once, but twice. Not just him, the whole administration. Look at the whole administration as a whole. Look how much money they've made, not once, but twice since he's been in office. You know what I'm saying? Not once, not both, not one term. Look at both terms, and look how much money they've made in between both terms. These dudes don't give a fuck about us. I'm sorry, Mark. They don't care about us. All they want to do is just make their pockets fatter, so they can live their lives. Because again, like you said, why do you need 2 private jets? Why do you even need a private jet, to tell you the truth? Why do you need a private jet? You are a prosecutor. You're nothing else but a prosecutor. Why do you need a private jet when you can fly on this, the commercial flight with us? You know what I'm saying? Since you're such an of importance and everything for everybody. I understand, you know what I'm saying? Certain people, they're gonna look at us with disgust because us the petty folk, us the poor folk, we're not gonna be there to discuss them. So I'm gonna leave that alone. But again, you know what I'm saying? Certain people, like my man was just saying, they not gonna care. You know what I'm saying? You're just hanging a rope, like he said, you're hanging a rope to around your neck yourself, and you're doing it yourself. Because eventually, not if, when the Democrats are coming back, you know what I'm saying? They're just gonna remove you, and you're gonna be in jail for a very long time, most likely. So I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I hope, all my final thoughts is, I hope you enjoy, whatever time you got left doing whatever you want to do, because then after that, you might most likely be in jail, because a lot of people are now seeing their faults on who they voted for and what they voted for. You voted for this. You guys did this. You guys are the ones that voted for, he gonna make America great again. You guys did this. Knowing that 95% of the, people in America, we're technically poor. We're not 5%ers. We're not those 5%ers. We're not those. A lot of people, the middle class, to tell you the truth, might be dead. Because, to tell you the truth, everybody struggles. I read a report a couple years ago saying by 2035 or something like that, most people are going to need 2 jobs to support their lifestyle. I've been working 2 jobs for the last 5 years now, bro. And I tell you the truth, bro, I still think this is not even enough. So you got to understand, bro, like, these guys, they're digging their holes on themselves. So if the case may be, let them do it. Because when something goes bad, it's gonna go worse. And karma's how you say it? Karma's really bad.
Yeah.
She comes back tenfold. So I saw my thoughts on that.
So let me ask you this
No,
question.
that was a great cook, Juan. You said a lot.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask him this question. With a name like Bodega One, I'm assuming you're from New York.
No, I'm from Boston.
Oh, okay. So just a quick.
That's not his name. That's my brother. I love him.
Nah, he called me.
Okay, my bad.
I only allow him to call me that. Everybody else going.
Okay.
I call him that because he a Puerto Rican. That's my brother though.
But
it's about 90 miles separating my island from Puerto Rico. This is my good brother right there. Go ahead, AC.
I just wanted to say it like this. When we talk about New York or other states like that, especially along the East Coast and things like that, I call us all the I-95 people. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
so
sir.
For here in New York, to live in 2025, the per capita income is you got to make plus $200,000 to live. If you're not making that money, or you're, let's just say, for individual, you should be making 160 to 170, anywhere between 160 and $180,000 living in New York for the cost
To
of
live in
living
the
as
city?
it is in 2020.
To live in the city, right?
Huh?
To live in the city, right?
Yeah, to live in New York. So basically,
you mean Manhattan, right?
No, in the city. In the city.
Wow.
In the city.
We're talking between the 5 boroughs and certain
The
parts
outer
of
parts.
Long Island. As you get to Long Island, it actually goes up because Long Island is heavily Republican.
Mm-hmm.
Certain parts of Queens is heavily whatever. But
Republican.
The point I'm making is this. If you're not making that money, you're surviving. So if you're surviving, how is there a middle class? To answer his question. So just so people can keep it in perspective for their own state, find out what the per capita is, and then look at the wage. And then you say to yourself, okay, for the whole year, this is what I take home.
Hey, we're gonna touch on the economy literally in the next topic, but I want to stay on Christy Nome for a second, fellas. Because Chris, it came out. I think this report came out maybe last month, but I didn't really take the time to read it. But a report came out from the New York Times. And this happened. I believe, this was March, back when all that. Well, let me just say this happened in March, where the Trump administration and Christine Nome defied a judge's order. They sent 200 Venezuelan migrants to this this prison of nightmares. It's called Boycott in El Salvador, and it is a bona fide death camp.
Mm-hmm.
It is it is one of those things. It's like Unit 731. What the Japanese used to do to people, where they used to experiment on them without anesthesia. Like, it is a house of horrors, and they sent 200 people down there. By the way, the New York Times also went and looked into their backgrounds. 90% of these people have no criminal record, not even a traffic ticket. And the 10% that did, it was petty crimes like theft. Like, so they sent these people down to this death camp. And some of the things that these men describe, it is like, it's out of. Hold on, and salute to my brother B3 Picks pulling up. B3 Picks, how you doing, brother? Well, let me continue on with
good,
the show.
Mark. I just seen this, man. My bad for being late.
Nah, you good, bro. But I was just touching on Christine Nome, the 200 Venezuelans that were sent to Boycott, the El Salvadoran death camp. Some of these things that the men described, when they reached the prison, they were they had their hands handcuffed behind their back, and then the prison guards would interlock their arms in there and force them into a downward position where they have to duck walk, and then they would be left to kneel on their knees with their hands handcuffed behind their back all night long. They would get beatings. There would be no medical attention given to these men. They said that there were periods of 2 to 3 days when they would not be fed or given any water. Um, and the most shocking of all, one gentleman says that he was taken to the infirmary, and 10 guards, they violated this man. I'll just say it like that. They violated him. Yeah, I mean, it just sick stuff. And then at the end of the day, the guy who got these 200 people out of this nightmare is the Venezuelan dictator Nicolas Maduro, who we're trying to go to war against his country right now to displace him. But just touching on what AC said, these people, specifically Christy Nome, and anybody who had anything to do with sending these people to this prison down there, y'all need to self-incriminate right now. Because y'all are done. We got all kind of laws against this. We have laws against torture, war crimes, kidnapping, conspiracy to commit torture. We're a signatory to the conventions against torture. So on top of that, you've broken international law. That means you're not going to be able to just run to whatever country they want. They're going to still try to come and get you.
So,
like, just quickly. I don't like after what happened after 9/11 with the Bush torture program, with some of just the sick and depraved stuff that was happening in there. I actually respected the U.S. Congress because they stepped up and said, hell no. And this will never happen again. And here we are right back to it with Donald Trump. I can't tolerate none of this stuff. Like, this stuff, it goes right to the heart of why we fought World War II. It goes to the heart of fascism, dehumanizing other people. I'm not with it. But AC, I'm gonna come to you. What's your thought? And by the way, just quickly, AC, Kilmar Abrego Garcia has been ordered released. That's one of the gentlemen who was sent to this death camp in El Salvador. He has now been ordered to be released. He was flown back to the U.S. after being sent there. They tried to take him through all types of legal hooplas. They tried to deport him again, this time to Liberia, a country in Africa. And a judge has finally said, enough is enough. Y'all people are ridiculous. And they sending that man home to his family. But AC, what's your thoughts on this illegality?
I'm gonna keep it real short and simple. We know what happened with George Bush, Condoleezza Rice, and others of the Bush administration can't even leave this country, because the minute they step out of this country, their international police are gonna come and get them. France and Spain have literally warrants out for their arrest. So Kristi Noem, this entire administration, you're going to be within that same thing. Now, you can get away with it. You can walk free. You could do what you got to do and stuff like that. But unless you're planning to live the rest of your days in Russia, then there's really no place on the planet Earth that you can go and hide. So that's the reality of it. So again, for me, when you are committing these type of atrocities to where you're violating human rights on a type of scale that is, the worst dictators have done these type of things, and it didn't end well for them. So Miss Kristi Noem, you're running around. You want to be sassy, tell people, at the beginning, well, you can whatever with Abrego Garcia, but he is not being turned, and you just got to get over it. Oh really? Oh really? Okay, all right. Like I said, I may make a shirt that says, "Listen, go self incarcerate. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I land that plane.
So my biggest thing on this whole thing right now is one, right? If you want to, right, what was the point of us starting the war, or technically trying to start a war with Venezuela? What it is? What was it? The whole point of that for? Mark, can you explain that to me real quick?
In their words, drug enforcement. They say that drugs are coming from Venezuela to the United States.
Okay, so yeah,
There's no statistics from a federal agency to back that up at all.
So we all know, the U.S. does stuff just to do stuff, but behind it, it could either be the oil or it could be something that they found that can only be found in this region of the earth, whatever case may be, right? So now, you telling me, right, that you guys are sending these people to this Salvadorian, yeah, they're close to each other, but you're sending these people to a Salvadorian, a Venezuelan.
Salvadoran. Well, Salvadoranian.
El Salvador. You're sending, because this is just blowing my mind. This is what blows my mind right now. They're sending them to El Salvador with their Venezuelan. Instead of just sending them back to Venezuela, where torture is 10 times worse there than there. But we're not going to go into that. You telling me, right, you guys going to send them there, and then the guy's going to get them out because there was no logical proof for you sending these dudes there. And like you said, 10% of them was petty thief and whatever the case may be. That was just stuff that it didn't matter. So now, what was the point of it? Because now you're looking like a bunch of racists. And on top of that, you're just looking now to start this war. For what? What is the point of you starting this war for? What is this? Again, this is the rich trying to get richer because, again, when politicians and all that stuff, they profit off of war. Whatever profits there is, it's going to be off of war. That's when, these people are going to like to make their money. We have no rights of doing whatever the hell we doing. Again, Barky just explained the whole thing to you guys. But for me, it looks so pitiful. Like, it looks so pitiful because it's like you're digging a hole. You're just making it deeper. So now it's like, all right, bro. So when stuff comes down to you and Trump is gone, because he's going to die eventually, and you guys got to answer for this, and you try to come home with something, because you from South Dakota. I'm talking to you, Christina. You're from South Dakota, and you try to come home, and you get arrested right at the gate. You know what I'm saying? Don't say nothing. Just accept the fate, because that's where you're going to have to go, is Russia, to be free. Because I don't see no way in hell anybody else in any part of the world, except for Russia, that's going to leave you alone. Because they're going to come and get you. So that's my thoughts on that.
No, absolutely. And not only that, I think what they're relying on, Juan, is the fact that Trump, or at least they think Trump is going to be alive to pardon them when he's out of at the end of his term. I just did some research and I listened to Glenn Kirshner. There is actually a way to challenge a presidential pardon, especially a blanket pardon for somebody who hasn't been convicted of a crime yet. You could actually challenge that in court. And I have no doubt, whoever the next Democratic administration is, I don't want no Merrick Garland P word as my attorney general. I want somebody that's going to drop the hammer on these folks.
Give me a Letitia James.
Yeah, so
Letitia James.
This lady deported a veteran?
Yeah.
Yes. A man that took 2 bullets in Panama.
No, he's not the only one.
All right, yeah, there's more.
They've deported at least 3 to my count, 3 to maybe 5 veterans.
Wow, this lady going. Mark, you gotta say this word right quick. She going straight to hell. That's where she going.
No. Yeah, you good.
She going to hell, bro. She definitely going to hell. Yeah,
and that's the problem. Like you could keep pushing. Oh, we're getting illegals out of it. You could push that to the farthest right wing people. They'll eat that up. They'll love it. But regular old Republicans, bro, they watching this.
Mark, hold on. Let me cook on something real quick before I gotta get off of this real quick. Let me cook on this.
They're not going to B3 after you,
bro. I hate, and I don't want to sound crazy, and I don't want to sound racist because it's not me being racist. It's really not being racist. It's just I hate when old white folks say, "Oh, we gotta get these illegals out of here." You know that 90% of the people that like work construction jobs, work the fields, work, the jobs that nobody really wants to do
Bro,
are the
Juan,
immigrant.
what Juan today, and I'll let you keep going. Today, I needed an apartment painted, so that I could rent it. I literally drove by. It's a place called Jiffy Mart. It's a little convenience store. They had 10 Dominicans working out there. I asked who can paint. About three of them raised their hand. I said I need one of you, and I picked the dude. His name was Andre. He repainted the whole thing in one day.
Yeah.
And I was screwing around with my other Puerto Rican partner. I'm not saying nothing about Puerto Rican. That's not what I'm saying. But I was
We
screwing
good.
around with him for almost 2 weeks to get
Yeah.
that done.
But this is my thing, right? This is my biggest thing is right? Like people, white. I don't want to sound crazy because this is crazy, but white folk always like are immediately to be like, well, the minorities are the ones that always on disability checks or whatever the case may be, right? Then then the report came out that showed like the minority having less than, I think it was like 20% of like the disabilities, the food stamps and all that, and it was a big old chart just for people saying like, oh well, the white folk, are the ones that catching all these disability, and it's like. And like to me, it's like, yo, you guys are so ignorant. Like to think that, yo, you guys are gonna come and do these jobs that these people come from different countries to do these jobs that these people do. Like, bro, I know this dude because I'm in like the sign business. I know this dude, bro, that came from Mexico, bro, like not even 6 years ago. Bro has his own shop. Bro is doing so well. Like right now, I'm like, bro, if they were to even like step foot in like half of our like lives, bro, like a lot of these people wouldn't survive, bro. A lot of these people wouldn't survive. Like you wouldn't survive the climate that we've had to like really like deal with like throughout the years, bro. Not just African Americans, not just us, Puerto Ricans, not just us, Caribbeans and all that. Just people in general, bro. Like people that are from like parts that are like third world country that come to this country and succeed, bro. Like you guys don't even understand the hardships. You don't even you understand the hardships of
My
life, bro.
mother is one of them.
Yeah, but you don't even that's what I be telling them. I'm like, you don't understand the hardships of life, bro. Like you talking about, oh well, I was a one single, like, bro, these people coming from places where, you know what I'm saying, like if you didn't escape, bro, you was gonna get killed, bro, like because that's how they
Yep.
living out in that way, bro. Like you gotta understand, people gotta understand, bro. Like the backbone of America is a bunch of immigrants that build, do successful things. Like you understand that, bro. And for people that think this way, bro, there's a special place in hell for you, bro. There's a
It
special
well
place in hell for you.
to read a quote from Lyndon B. Johnson, one of our former presidents. If you can convince the lowest white man he's better than the best colored man, he won't notice you're picking his pocket. Hell, give him somebody to look down on, and he'll empty his pockets for you. That's the games they play. That's
That's a
the
fact.
games that the Republicans play. It's
That's a
the
fact.
illegals' fault that housing is so expensive. It's the illegals' fault you don't have a job. It's the illegals' fault that you can't get a woman and that that you can't afford to have a family.
Yeah.
These people
Yeah,
are
bro.
just ignorant.
Yeah,
But
and it's ignorance, bro. It's ignorance. It's a bunch of ignorance. It's gonna always be ignorance. And you know, I'm young and I'm what I'm saying, I did a lot of things, but in my 30 years of life, bro, I've experienced a lot where a lot of people are not gonna walk in my shoes and seeing the things that I've seen that things that I've had to endure. So it's like for people that be like, this ignorant, and it opened my eyes within the last couple of years that it opened my eyes, like, bro, like it's a shame that I have to raise my sons in this type of, in this type of world, but I gotta teach these guys how to move in this world because it's crazy to me. It's really like crazy to me. But That's all I have for you guys, man. Yo, Mark, thank you for having me, bro. B3, I'm gonna check you out tomorrow. Same thing with you, AC.
Yeah, for
Peace, y'all.
sure.
All right, family.
Nah, I appreciate you so much, Juan. You cooked. You gave a lot of great takes tonight. But I'm gonna come to my brother B3. B3, do you have any reaction to some of those facts I just laid out? What those detainees had to endure down there in El Salvador, and the fact that Christine Nome defied a court order to send them to that nightmare.
I mean, it just sounds god awful, man. Give me break it down for me, real, Mark. Give me the full context of like why this took place.
Well, earlier this year, the Donald Trump and the Trump administration they used a 200-year-old law called the Alien Enemies Act to claim that we were under invasion from a Venezuelan terror group called Tren de Aragua, and Tren de Aragua is really controlled by the president of Venezuela. Therefore, it's an invading force. And the Alien Enemies Act, it was also used in World War II to intern the Japanese people in concentration camps in the United States. So Donald Trump, using that flimsy legal justification, used that as an excuse to round up any Venezuelan he could get his hands on before eventually the court shut that shit down cold stop. During that time, they deported over 200 people to a death camp in El Salvador called Boycott. And here you see Christy Nome in Boycott standing in front of the bars. These are and she's standing in front of a room that's packed with at least 80 people. Now, I don't know what some of these people did. They look pretty, I mean, I wouldn't I wouldn't want to walk down the same street as them, but hey, though what I can say is B3, those Venezuelan migrants that were sent to that place, 90% of them had no criminal convictions. 10% of the 10% that did have criminal convictions, it was petty stuff. These people, when they got sent down there, they were sexually violated, they were beaten, they were tortured. There was an incident where these men got so desperate, B3, they cut their wrists and then used the blood to draw letters to say we are not criminals. And for that, they got beat. And then they got put in isolation where more people came in and beat them through the night. And then eventually, one gentleman was taken to the infirmary where he got treated and then he got sexually violated. And it was just a whole, like that place, what they described is a house of nightmares. And our government sent them there illegally. A judge ordered the plane with those migrants to be turned around. And Christy Nome and another individual named Emil Bove, who now has a lifetime appointment to the bench in New Jersey, they said, F that. We're gonna send them to the death camp any damn way. I mean, just inhumane stuff. I can't believe that. I can't believe that our country did it, but it's just the brazenness. Like they didn't even try to hide it.
Man, I don't know, man. They just got like too much legal justifications and wiggle room and you know their authorities, right? Because if there was really true checks and balances, that certain things wouldn't happen. But people are kind of given the freedom to make decisions based on whatever office they've been given or whatever position they've kind of elevated themselves to, right? But it's just unfortunate, man. They don't factor in the human life. Black and brown lives is really given a kind of respect and like value that like for instance, like Patrice O'Neal got that joke about the little white girl that went missing. They spent like $1 million or something to try to find the white girl, but two football players had went missing, and all they did was send a couple of niggas to the end of the beach and to look for him, and so that just goes to show you how especially how America treats black and brown people. So it's unfortunate, but all you can do really for yourself is what I believe is truly just have a relationship with God, stay in prayer, make sure you kind of gain your education so you can continue to develop your own skill set so you can just try to avoid some of these I don't know, some of these bad circumstances that other people kind of fall in, because when you live a life that's dependent upon certain government funding, you never know, depending on whatever year it is or what election cycle, that group may be trying to take those funds away from you. So it's unfortunate for the disabled and those who can't go out and make quick money or make good money. So that's kind of who you need the protection for, who people got to stand up for, is those who can't stand up and protect themselves.
Well, for me, I was gonna say this. We are seeing some of the checks and balances because it was low. I won't say low level or anything like that. Lower tier federal judges who told these people what to do. Now, the mere fact that they did it anyway, it was still up to that judge to hold that person in contempt, because you would do it for anyone else.
By the way, AC, they've opened criminal contempt proceedings into Christine Ohm.
Okay, cool. So
because she specific, and then she went on NBC and said that I told them to not to turn the plane around.
Okay, cool. So like I'm saying, there, you have to start to hold these people accountable. Now, if Donald Trump tries to step in and give a person like Christine Ohm a pardon, yes, there is a real legal mechanism that says you cannot pardon a person who has not committed a crime. It's just not ethic. It falls under something with ethics. I was looking at it, and I think something Gershner, the bald dude who argues federal cases and stuff like that, who talks about he was a former federal prosecutor.
Chris Gershner?
Yeah. So he was basically breaking it down because Brian Tyler Cohen was asking the question. So with all of this egregious behavior, let's just say right before Trump leaves office, he just gives blanket pardons to everyone in his administration. And old boy was basically saying, yes, he can do that. He to a certain degree he would be in his right to do that, because the word that Stephen Miller used as saying the presidential powers are I don't remember the word, but his pardon powers are pretty much that. But
planetary. That's the word you're probably looking for. They're planetary. His pardon powers are planetary.
The president's pardon abilities are definitely planetary, and it's very, very difficult to overturn a presidential pardon. And this was where he said, unless. He said, now, if you pardon a person who hasn't committed a crime, then you're acting in the capacity of saying, okay, I'm going to pardon you for a crime you may commit sometime in the future. And that goes against the very premise of a presidential pardon. There has to be, the weighing out of it, the discussion of it, the legality of it, and X, Y, and Z. This is why many of Trump's pardons, when a Democrat gets back in office and we get a real prosecutor, and the Democrats could possibly take the House and the Senate, oh boy, there are going to be plenty of hearings on some of these pardons from this president. So there is such a thing called an illegal pardon. is basically what he's saying. And to do a blanket pardon for people who haven't been convicted is within the definition of that. Now, it's never been taken to court. No one has ever did it. So this is going to be the first.
Well, the Trump administration, one thing we could say about them, they love to create new firsts for us to talk about. So hopefully he can become the first president to get thrown into the slammer, along with all of his other cabinet heads who have been committing crimes this entire administration. But we're gonna move on. Prayers for those people that were sent to this nightmare. I pray for their healing. Um, I'm very sorry that they were sent there, man, because I don't believe in none of that stuff. I believe in what the Constitution says and what the founder said about all men being created equal in the eyes of their creator. So just because you're an illegal immigrant, that don't mean you deserve to get sent to a death camp. Like, no, but we're gonna move on from that. This week, AC, you probably seen it, MB3. Donald Trump is hitting the road to campaign for the midterms because Republicans feel it. They know that they are in deep crap this coming November in the midterms. And he is out here trying to push his essentially his message that the economy is doing great. The economy, we have the hottest economy in the world. If there's any problems, it was because of Biden. It was because of Biden. I had to dig it out of a hole. The inflation was super high. Now it's super low. Well, let me play the clip of Noodles discussing affordability.
Economy, sir, here at home, and I wonder what grade you would give
A
your
plus.
economy. A plus.
Yeah, A plus, 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 plus.
Well, it's
but the word affordability is a Democrat scam. They say it and then they go into the next subject, and everyone thinks, oh, they had lower prices. No, they had the worst inflation in the history of our country. And the word affordability is the exact same thing. And I can't say affordability hoax because I agree the prices were too high, so I can't go to hoax because they'll misconstrue that. But they use the word affordability, and that's their only word. They say affordability, and everyone says, oh, that must mean Trump has high prices. No, our prices are coming down tremendously. You can give up certain products. You can give up pencils. Because under the China policy, you know, every child can get 37 pencils. They only need one or two, you know. They don't need that many. But you always need steel.
So I just want to be clear. This is a billionaire telling people what their children need to be successful in a classroom. He's telling you, your kids can go without less. Your kids can go without less. It'll be okay. It'll be fine. But steel, we really need steel. That steel is really important. And I need these tariffs in order to negotiate for our steel. I really want to curse right now, but like I flipped over a new branch. But the economy is not doing well. The jobs numbers, we haven't had any jobs numbers since October, since before the shutdown. But back then, we were running in the red in the job market. We were shedding over 30,000 jobs a month going into October. Then we also have the tariffs, which are probably about to be struck down by the Supreme Court. Costco just sued Donald Trump over the tariffs, and they're trying to get their refund. On this also works within the backdrop of Trump just gave the farmers a $12 billion bailout package. If the economy is booming and if everything is beautiful, then why do farmers need a bailout? And if your tariffs are working, why do farmers need a bailout? Your ass should have just never implemented the pardons, and then we wouldn't be here. When Biden was leaving office, inflation was at 2.9%. It's now ticked back up to 3.2%. Like, I've never seen stupidity of this level. Like, there is nothing good about the tariffs, and then like people's stupidity. Like, all you have to do is do a little bit of research, not a lot, a little bit of research about what tariffs are. Tariffs are a tax on us. You know what I'm saying? And it stresses out businesses. When you're a business and you got to pay a tariff, let me say it like this. Let me explain it like this. Tariffs affect the business like this. When you're in business, when you buying materials and when you paying for labor, those are things you call the cost of doing business. Now, you don't get to control how much the market says your materials cost. The thing that you do get to control is how much the final product sells for and how much you're going to pay your labor or how many hours you're going to give your labor. So let's say I'm in the burger patty bit. Let's say I'm in the burger business, and it costs me $8. It costs me $8 to get burger parts and burger materials, ground beef, spices, whatever. I gotta import them and whatever. Then I pay my labor $1. That means it takes me $9 altogether to put one burger together. That means in order for a business owner to make $1 profit, he would have to sell that burger for $10. When you introduce a 10% tariff on burger parts and burger materials, that increases the price of materials from $8 to $8.40. Now, instead of making $1, you only making 60 cents off of your product. Now you're gonna have to sit there and you're gonna have to decide: am I going to raise the price of this burger by 40 cents to $1? Or am I gonna cut back on my labor? Am I gonna cut back on hours, or am I gonna cut back on labor in general and cut it down to 60 cents? And that's the type of strain tariffs put on business. Tariffs are not good. They have never been good. And now Donald Trump he's unalived the farming industry. Like farming is like regular homestead farming for families, not big time corporations. That is going to be gone in the next 5 years because of this idiot. Because China has stopped buying soybeans, which is the lifeblood of American agriculture. On top of the fact, ACMB3, things that you need to buy, things that you need in order to farm, like fertilizer, has gone up in price. Like, these people are just idiots. Idiots. And then on top of that, the migration, tourism in this country is dead. Nobody's coming from Canada to come visit. And as you can see from these numbers, nobody is coming from Europe to come visit the United States of America. Man, I don't know how we get out of this. I really hope that the Supreme Court strikes down on the tariffs, because this
Well,
guy is an idiot.
half of them are with Kinahan, so a lot of them can't even come over here, Mark. A lot of them are criminals.
So I gotta say this.
Oh, gee, that's harsh.
I have to say this because
go ahead, AC. I'm gonna come to you, B3.
That was real funny, knowing that there's an actual chef on the panel. So, just to put certain things in clarity, if the cost of your burger is $9, you're not selling that burger for less than $28.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's actually where the price of that burger will be when you talk about the whole cost of doing business, your rent, your taxes.
Right. I didn't factor that in.
Yeah,
right.
all of that other stuff. So back when I first started cooking, we tried to run restaurants at 25%. That means the price, say that burger cost $10. You're gonna multiply it by 2.5. That's gonna equal your 25%. So that number, after you multiply it by 2.5, that's your selling point. It cannot go less than that, because now you're not making any money, because the to-go containers, ketchup, utensils, all of those little things people tend to forget that go into the price. Now, for me, going back to Donald Trump, right? When you're looking at what he's getting ready to do, it has, in my opinion, from looking at the tea leaves and watching how much he's been failing and how many people are turning against him, it has nothing to do with, in my opinion, it has nothing to do with the midterms. It has more to do with creating the distraction. And the distraction is his medical issues, him now falling asleep. So you don't want to have any more of these White House meetings to whereas you're going to catch these things on camera of him falling asleep, him dozing off, and all of those other things. Then you're going to have him going out to speak, be on the stage, and he's going to say all of this outrageous stuff, and people are going to be covering his cognitive and not being able to stay on point and some of the weird things he's going to say. That all of that distracts from the Epstein files. I believe we should be at that 30th day pretty soon, or we have passed it. So what happened to the release of those Epstein files? Then we'll be looking at. He's also distracting because the National Guard shooting didn't work in his favor. No one's talking about it. It didn't have the bump like the Kirk shooting did. Then we're gonna look at this. His most recent loss is his tariff war, his self-inflicted tariff war. If you have to get the Republicans to sign this bill, $12 billion, $12 billion with the B.
Taxpayer dollars
To bail out the farming industry, because the macroeconomic level of how big farms work, you destroyed that. You did that in your first term when you wanted to renegotiate the Canadian and Mexican war, and then you went into that tariff war with China in the first time around. Which Canada, Mexico, and China were the three people who were buying American soybeans. And then when you did that thing, they said, you know what? Brazil is number 2 on the list that manufactures, not for consumption, but commercial soybeans. Okay, cool. So we'll just go to Brazil and get Brazil, and then invest money into the Brazilian market and land and things like that. And Brazil has a much better, stronger climate that'll produce a soybean that is actually better than the American one. This is why they won't buy back the American soybean, because the Brazilian soybean, because of the soil, volcano activity, just the climate itself, is more inducive of the type of soybean that has a vast use in the commercial space. So boom, there you go, Trump. You done screwed all of them over. You had to bail them out the first term, and now you're giving them even more money. You almost did it by a factor of 50, because back then it was millions. Now you're talking about billions to give to farmers. And it's just a Band-Aid, because all the farmers are like, look, okay, we'll take the bailout right now, but you're not giving us the contracts that you said if we voted you in and we went along with this thing you proposed, you would have all of these contracts for us to sell these soybeans too. So now there's tons and tons of soybeans that are sitting there that we can't eat. We can't do nothing with them but break them things down for chemical, oil refineries, the
TD salute.
drills and things like that in cold and the deep oceans. Bro, we can't eat that soybean. They're not meant for us to eat. And just a clarification, the smaller farms in America are actually thriving right now, especially the smaller organic farms. Because for me, as a consultant, I'm putting people on. I'm like, look, if you go to this company, you're still paying the middleman. And they're telling you they're dealing with farmers, but your price. Look at from this list right here. I have this farm right here. Look at how much I pay for shiitake mushrooms here, and look at how much shiitake mushrooms cost there. and you don't know where those mushrooms came from. But from this farm, you know where they came from. You can Google that. Look at the price difference.
Oh, you mean like the farmers market type of farms?
Yeah, like the farmers market type of farms, but what you're paying for from them is you might be paying a little bit extra because gas. They're gonna factor
Yeah.
in how much money it costs to get the product to the market. And it's
No, but
still
there's
not
nothing like farmers market organic stuff. There is no comparison.
for the restaurant industry, those of us who've been on the farm to table type of uh, thing for real, our menus are hyper seasonal and things like that. The cost of doing business is great right now, at least as far as your food cost concerned. It's the labor and the other bullshit that's fucking it up. You feel what I'm saying?
Watch the cousin.
Oh yeah, my bad.
But yeah, I feel what you're saying. Absolutely.
But it's that type of stuff that's messing up the market. But as far as a chef who's been on farm to table, seed to table, and have a relationship with his fishermen and have a relationship with his farmers, bro, the cost of doing business, you're bringing in tons of money. You're bringing in tons of money. But the bigger farmers who are prone to the commercial space, who are growing commercial corn for soy lecithin for those drills and things like that, who are growing other things that actually make fertilizers and stuff like that. Yeah, it starts from the plants and things that you need for those fertilizer chemicals, and that price is going up because half that stuff comes from commercial farmers and things like that. So it's like where he's tearing this economy up at, you have all the major players like terrified right now. Like, yeah, he's got to go. He's got to go. So maybe I'm just saying, maybe we may hear a breaking news that depending on how he's trying to do these campaigns, because it limits his exposure. He just goes out, performs a couple of hours during the day, and he's on the bus, sleep, taking a nap, doped up, drugged up, however they're maneuvering him. But this might be the catalyst that says expect a medical condition, and this is how they get rid of Donald Trump. Because I think they're gonna do what they got to do.
Yeah, because I don't think Trump, because they'll say all this stuff about Biden and how Biden or rather or they just have these theories. Oh, Democrats they covered up for Biden. No, they didn't. As soon as it was apparent that Biden couldn't win that election, they went to him and said, "Mr. President, it's time to go."
Yeah,
and he stepped down. You, Mike Johnson, Thune over there in the Senate, this man's cabinet, they don't have the scrotum. Forget about the nuts inside the scrotum. They don't even got the scrotum to send that crap in a text. Much less go tell Donald Trump to his face, "Sir, we think it's time to go home." Are you kidding me? Now, what might happen, AC, is JD Vance is sitting back looking at all this stuff saying,
you just went out, Marky. But I know what he's saying. He's basically saying a person like JD Vance, and it's you gotta look at the tea leaves of JD Vance because he's been kind of very, very silent. And there are those reports coming out that are saying, is JD Vance and Stephen Miller, plotting against Trump to remove him from president because of the threat of the nightmare midterms. Like these midterms, they're automatically predicting.
My bad. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, you're back right now.
Yeah, make sure to check on your loved one, man. That was my girl Ida Cruz. B3 knows her. That's my old that's my Puerto Rican. She's like my auntie. She fell, broke her hip. She was just calling me. I'm gonna call her back in just 1 second. But make sure to check on your people, man. I love that lady right there. Salute to Ida Cruz. Praying for you, ma. But
Praying
I'm
for
gonna
other
come to B.
crews, bro.
Yeah, most def. Sweetest Puerto Rican lady you will ever meet in your entire life. But I'm gonna come to you, B3. What's your reaction to a stroked out Donald Trump saying affordability is a hoax. It's a hoax. We have the hottest economy in the world. And then all those facts that me and AC just laid out of how the tariffs are just awful. In fact, this man had to pay a $12 billion bailout to farmers because of his tariffs.
Man, at the end of the day, salute to the family, TD. I Trump is just I don't know really what he's doing that's positive, man, or that's productive. I mean, AC probably knows, but it
There's
just
nothing. There's nothing. There's nothing. But go
Zero.
ahead.
yeah, it just I mean that's what I'm saying, y'all. It just
Like
feels like
all his cabinet heads are like they're like incompetent, substance abusing versions of each other. They're like their own incompetent. Like it, each of them are just so incompetent and ignorant. Like I can't put it into words. But go ahead, B3. I just it's sickening.
yeah, that's really kind of it's like he didn't hire any good people. That's kind of bad. That doesn't even make sense how this even allowed. But um, you would think that the Republican Party or the people that were surrounding Trump would have people would be more thorough. More thorough individuals. At least as a collective, I just feel like maybe they're just puppets. Who's considered to run the Republican Party right now? Like who's in the driver's seat?
Uh, Donald Trump. That's the scary part, B3. Donald Trump.
It all rests on him, bro.
Some people say that
That's
Stephen
not
Miller
great.
is running Donald Trump, but Donald Trump is the one running the Republican Party right now.
Mm. And see, he wants to be kind of the top, when kind of unopposed, right?
Yeah.
Because if you have opposition, that's when you got to be concerned, right? In your own ranks, because he had a threat on his life as well before. So I understand, he probably wants to keep things, everything to his liking, but that's just not good for us. It's not conducive for the American people because we need kind of our best and brightest at the forefront of decision making. And when that doesn't happen, you kind of get faulty thinking and then, lapse in judgment a lot of times when you don't have people that are kind of well versed, seasoned to kind of make big decisions. So,
Well, the problem is B3, the Republican, or I'll say a large part of the Republican Party, they were sold this conspiracy theory. I'll call it that the government is ran by the deep state, and all these civil servants, all these career long civil servants, you're just bureaucrat. You're unelected bureaucrats that's running our government. No, these people are public servants. They are in these positions because they know what the hell they are doing. And they have the credibility to run these agencies. Like B3, you weren't here last week, but we went through Kash Patel, who's the director of the FBI right now. They're every single year, this union is called the Alliance of Retired Special Agents and Current Special Agents. They come out with a report on the FBI director and the FBI in general and how they're feeling about it. And it was a 115-page report of them absolutely taking a dump on Kash Patel, the FBI director. They were saying they said he polygraphed some of his agents because he got wind that there was a discussion going on at an FBI building where they were discussing why is Kash Patel getting a gun, and people were laughing at him. Some people said, "Man, we don't give a damn what that man do." Some people said, "Hell no, why would we get this dude a gun?" And he had those people polygraphed. On top of just a whole other list of bull crap. This man, he didn't have an FBI raid jacket. And this is the day after Carly Zirk got unalived in Utah. So you know what I'm saying, B3, it's a big, like, that's a big moment. If you the head of law enforcement for MAGA, one of your folks just got taken out. So he's on the plane and he's throwing a hissy fit because he don't got an FBI raid jacket.
No,
So these
remember that the rain jacket needed to be the one with the patches.
Right. That's what it was. That's what it was. And he wanted an FBI raid jacket with some patches. So then he takes these FBI agents that are out trying to gather information, that are out trying to help the manhunt, because at the time they did not have the assassin. And he tells them, stop what you're doing and go find me a raid jacket with some patches. And then these folks, they couldn't find one in his size, so they got him a feminine jacket. They got him a jacket from a female agent. And then he was even more pissed off because it still didn't have the patches. So he stops FBI SWAT team members. Once again, while you have an assassin, a domestic terrorist on the loose, you don't know if this man might be planning another attack. He tells these men, hey, stop what you're doing, come over here and give me the patches off your jacket so that I can look cool on the TV camera. That's the people who are running your country, right? That's the people who's running this country, B3. And they're all like that. It's
B3.
not just that guy. They're all like that.
B3, Marky. I just, when you was breaking that stuff down, for me, I said, what would be the type of crew that I could mention that would fit the Trump administration? It's the first year of Jersey Shore.
Yes, that's perfect. That's too perfect.
Because when you look at Cookie and Christy Nome, they kind of remind you of each other a lot. So, yeah, bro. So, yeah, that's the Melania joints. But basically, what I'm talking about is, to me, that's who this administration is. It's the cast from the Jersey Shore, the first year, when they just got on TV, don't really know how to act. They just wilding out, period, because it's recess, and they paying me to be a fool. That's the way I see them. You know, for me personally, I've been trying. I had this thought because it makes more sense to me. This thought: the person who is QAnon is Stephen Miller.
I wouldn't be shocked.
I wouldn't be shocked. You know what I'm saying? So when you look at the rise of these people and look at how QAnon created the whole MAGA party, it wasn't Trump. It wasn't the America First. It was QAnon that created MAGA. Because
is QAnon and WikiLeaks the same person?
WikiLeaks
was QAnon the one that was caught up in Argentina and they were trying to get him?
No. There is no one. Really.
Okay, then that's WikiLeaks who I'm thinking. The guy that was caught up in. Go ahead. My bad. Go ahead.
That was Elon Musk boy. The QAnon. The WikiLeaks. Because him and Elon Musk came into the limelight at the same time. They both had kind of like the same background. That was, I can't remember his name, but it was him, Edward Snowden, Elon Musk. You feel what I'm saying? WikiLeaks, Edward Snowden, and Elon Musk was like the thing that was being talked about back then. And Elon Musk was kind of like using his relationship with the WikiLeaks guy to kind of talk about the Obama administration. And you know what I'm saying? After the Obama administration gave him millions and close to $1 billion to build solar panels, because he said he had this technology, you know, that could build a better solar panel, and we never had to buy them from what's the name? So he never came up with that. Obama administration starts the paperwork to sue him. Trump wins the election and then has his Justice Department throw that Elon Musk case out. So at the end of the day, when you look at all of this, man, all of these dudes is tied together, and they've been tied together for a minute.
No, absolutely. I do think though, I do think the last Trump administration was. I'm not gonna say it didn't have its low points or bad policies, because they were trying to destroy Obamacare at that time. They weren't trying to improve it. They weren't trying to come up with their own plan. The tariffs, obviously, we saw how that worked. They had to bail out the farmers, on top of a whole other host of social issues. But overall, that Trump administration was way more moderate than what we're seeing right now, and way more competent at doing their jobs. Way more
because
than what we got.
It was real life. He filled
like, just quickly, AC. B3. One of the things that's been discussed recently is about the military taking illegal orders. Donald Trump, in his first administration, this was during the Black Lives Matter protests, he actually asked his Secretary of Defense, well, can't we just shoot them in the legs? And he was being serious. Now, if that was Pete Hegseth, and by the way, the Secretary of Defense at the time, who I think it was General Mattis, who, if you don't know who General Mattis is, look up his career. He led Operation Desert Storm. He led the invasion of Iraq. He has a storied career. He told this man, bro, if you don't shut the hell up, what are you talking about? If Pete Hegseth was in that position, I don't have the confidence that he would have told Donald Trump no. So, I don't know where we're going to go from here. Or excuse me, I do know where we're going to go from here. We got a blue wave coming up. Because let me also touch on that. I believe this happened. Hold on, where is it? Oh, damn, where the pic? Oh, here it is. On top of failing with his affordability is a hoax argument, we now see a massive victory for the Democrats in a Republican stronghold. Miami has flipped blue for the first time in 30 years. Her name is I believe it's Eileen Higgins. It says she's the former Miami-Dade County. She's a former Miami-Dade County commissioner. From the research I've done, they said this was the largest voter turnout in the history of Miami. In the history of Miami mayoral elections. They went to a runoff the first time, and then she came back and walked them down by over 19 points in this election. So the Republican and AC, just go. I'll let you touch on those results as well as the potential blue wave that's coming. One of the Republicans' talking points always when it comes to blue cities is, oh, Democrats are running, and they're running to Florida, and they're running to Miami. And when Mamdani got elected, oh, this is going to be terrible. All the billionaires are going to be running to Miami. And people were saying, oh, Miami is going to be open to all your billionaires, New York. They got to shut the hell up now. They got to shut all that crap up now, buddy. Nah. Apparently, Miami, because from this lady Higgins herself, she describes herself as a democratic socialist. And AC, I want you to think about that. Because the one thing that Cubans are known for, they are anti-socialist. And that's the thing that the Republican Party was able to enthrall them with for decades. The fact that they came out in droves to vote for this lady, that tells you all you need to know. The Cubans feel betrayed. Let me play Mrs. I will vote for Donald Trump.
Latino for Trump. I will vote for Donald Trump. Una injusticia, una grande injusticia.
Yanet Correa screams injustice after her husband was placed on an expedited deportation order after showing up to his immigration check-in in Miami.
They said, F you. They gave him their entire ass to kiss, AC.
Yep.
And right now they trying to gerrymander Florida because the 4 seats that they always could the 4 Cuban majority congressional districts always flip red. They're gonna flip blue this year. That's 4 seats in a 5-seat majority that the Republicans have. And the Republicans know they are gonna lose everywhere. They're gonna lose in Iowa, Nebraska, Tennessee. We just saw the other day a 19-point underperformance for the Republican candidate. And then we saw what happened in Georgia. I can't remember what the exact position was. I think it was a mayoral seat in a deep red Georgia district. And then you have that with the backdrop of Marjorie Taylor Greene, AC. Her district in North Georgia is up for grabs in February.
No, I think it was for the Georgia House or Georgia Senate, that race you're talking about.
Right. Yeah, they broke a supermajority. That's what it was. They broke a supermajority in the Georgia Senate, I think. So, but like I just said, with the backdrop of Marjorie Taylor Greene's seat being on the line this coming February, what's your thoughts on a bright red stronghold like Miami flipping blue?
Well, what many people may not.
Not only that, AC, she's the first non-Hispanic mayor since the 1990s.
Yeah, and basically what I'm saying is this: what many people may not realize is that Florida is very, very diverse, just like New York.
Yeah, you got Bahamians, you got Crucians, you got Puerto Ricans, you got Venezuelans, you got Cubans.
You got places that you've got your little Haiti down in Florida. You got
Bahamians,
little Havana, and all of those Bohemians. All of that type of stuff exists down in Florida. Florida is like another city without having all the tall buildings. You know what I'm saying? So Florida within itself is like it has its own 5 boroughs, but these are pockets of, where these are large populations of a specific type of person or whatever. But my point is this: when people don't feel safe, when they can look at it and say, okay, if I'm Cuban, am I safe here because I can go back to, Cuba being blase blah, and then are you gonna now go after? We're looking at you talking about going after birthright citizenship. Well, I'm a birthright citizen Cuban. You gonna come after me? So yeah, they see it, and then when ICE is snatching them up, they're like, no. We got the message loud and clear. We're not gonna hand you this type of power no more. Nope, you betrayed us. So that's on that end. When it comes down to the blue wave, you can't unsee what we see in this year since Donald Trump has taken office. We can't unsee that. We can't unsee the brutality of ICE. We can't unsee, you send it in the National Guard. We can't unhear the rhetoric and things like that. We can't unsee the fact that you illegally destroyed the White House, and which many people weren't talking about, there is no more office for the First Lady, because the First Lady's office was, guess what? In the East Wing.
By the way, AC, what they doing with the White House is completely illegal. Like, he had to go through 5 different committees before he even changes anything in there.
because it's a historic building, and you got to go through the preservation. You'd have to go through that type of stuff if you wanted to renovate some of these old buildings that are in Red Hook, Brooklyn. One of them is abandoned and they're trying to sell it, but you got to go through so much paperwork that you have to preserve X amount of that building in order to buy it and then refurbish it. But it's an abandoned building that's falling apart. But it's so old, they don't want to take it away. They're just saying, listen, if you're going to do this, be a contractor that can build around this, refortify that, and you got it. So the point I'm making is that the entire country, the entire world is looking at this administration, looking at their pockets, looking at, okay, I used to can buy a 3-pound pack of ground beef, a 2.5-pound pack of ground beef, and I'm speaking for here in New York, for like between $8 to $11. Now that same pack is plus $20. Like, who can really afford that? And that's the price in a restaurant I would be paying for per pound. At that price, you're charging me way over $10 a pound, and that's the price I get for premium at times dry aged cuts of beef. 21, 45 days in. So that's premium prices for restaurant, wholesale, that we're paying in the supermarket. People, at one point here in Brooklyn, a dozen of eggs was $14, bro. And that's the supermarket right up the block from me. Now it's down to 10, 12. You know what I'm saying? Every once in a while, they'll tell you these are on sale, and they'll tell you it's medium, but the eggs are mad tiny. Like, these ain't medium-sized eggs, man. What's going on here? So people are feeling it in every way. They're feeling it emotionally. They're feeling it in their pockets. They're looking at the cost of living, no matter where you are, and it's about to get worse come January, because once they didn't they couldn't come to an agreement, and the Democratic bill for health care failed and the Republican bill for health care failed. So
yep,
healthcare prices are going to go up, and that's where everybody.
AC, I'm gonna be turning 26 in January.
Wow.
Yeah, like I make decent money, but I'm gonna have to go without it. Like, that's just what I'm gonna have to do, and pray.
Bro, it's a scary.
Like, I got a couple of investments that I'm hoping come through in 2026. So I think I'm gonna be very, very wealthy, but still, like, right now in my current position where I work over almost 200 hours a month. Both my jobs pay me about $15 an hour. So, I make just a little over $4,000 a month. But even that, bro, like that, I gotta pay my car note is $500 a month. Then
Virgin Islands, or you're here in the U.S.?
I'm on St. Croix. I'm in the Virgin Islands.
Okay.
Matter of fact, a lot about my car note completely. I said $500 is for the insurance. The car note is $876 a month. That's for my Jeep Gladiator. Nah, I'm happy I got the truck. I'm thankful. I'll keep paying it. I'm happy. I'll be done paying that shit off by next November.
Mm-hmm.
But added on to all that other stuff, bro, I thought the Republican Party was about We want you young folks to be able to buy a Jeep or a Corvette or a Ford, whatever.
Or a
We
home.
want y'all to be able to buy a home and be able to feel safe and be able to afford health insurance to take care of your entire family. Nigga, I can't afford it. Like, I got two kids. I got two kids right now, so I can afford the two of them. But I'm thankful that my baby mom is somebody that she's responsible. You know, she got her own thing going on, so it's not an entire burden on top of me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I just pray things get better. But even if a Democratic administration comes in, AC, I don't like inflation has only like it's natural to a certain extent. And things get more expensive. Like $1,000 back in 1945, you were considered a rich man.
Yeah.
I remember there was a commercial for a Cadillac commercial back in like the 60s where they showed one man bought some European Ferrari car for $3,000. Then the other man, he bought a fridge, he bought a washing machine, he bought he bought, I think he bought an oven, and then he bought himself a Cadillac. And their point was that the Cadillac is so affordable, you can get all that stuff and buy a Cadillac. You can't do that in today's economy.
No.
At all.
Now, here's the funny part. We're talking about being rich. I'm old enough when I used to watch the Honeymoon, and Ralph Cramden was angry at his wife Alice because his wife Alice said that he made like 32 or it was less than $50 an hour, $50 a week. So when you look at stuff like that, and you're looking at what $1,000 could buy, what $1,000 was like to make a week in the 90s for me. You know what I'm saying? When I got into my first chef's job, I wasn't making 1,000, right? It was early 90s, but I was making like 8 and some change, almost 9, right? After taxes, that's what I was taking home, but I was making a little more than 1,000. Bro, my life was crazy as a young man at that particular time, because where I was living in Williamsburg. I had a loft, a real loft, brand new one. You know what I'm saying? Over 4,000 square feet. Me and one of my homies. It was a 2-bedroom loft. We was chilling. I had a couple of motorcycles. You know what I'm saying? I lived in the city. I didn't want a car. I didn't want a car. Bikes, I could park them up anywhere. And when it gets wintertime, I could put them close to the building or in the little side gate, put a tarp over it. It's good to go. Or take it uptown to a motorcycle parking garage. I paid them every month. They turn the bike on, turn it off, let it run, blah, 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 blah. So $1,000 a week, $4,000, $4,000 a month, you were chilling. You were basically living in New York at that point, because you can afford to go out and eat dinner. You can afford to go out to the bar, to the club, go shopping for yourself, all kind of stuff. My son wasn't born yet, but when he was born in the mid 90s, shoot, he had no need for nothing. Like the women in the clothing stores was like, I would love to be your baby mother, because I see you here almost every other week. And I'm like, yeah, I'm saving enough money, and I want my son to grow up with just that lifestyle. I always wanted to be that kid that always did, always had the little scooters and all of that other kind of stuff, but I wasn't. So I provided that life for my son and my daughter. So at the end of the day, I know, because I've gone through many different genres. I was born at a time when the computer did not exist. It was still rotary phones. There was not even an answering machine when I was born. That thing didn't exist. TVs were still black and white. So I grew up through the Walkman age, to the Discman, to the MP3 player, to the iPod, to the iPhone. And I'm one of those rare breed of people that's seen so much in life. So I've always had that ability to adapt. And when you apply that to political thinking, and you apply your own experiences and many things that you've seen, it's easy to vote Democrat all day long. Very easy to do it. But you'll also, if you grew up in that time, you'll vote Democrat, but you'll have a lot of Republican tendencies, conservative tendencies, when it came down to your money. All of us were conservatives in the fact that you save your money, you let your money grow, you build your equity, you make these investments early, so you're prepared for life later on. That's how it used to be, but now you've got credit. When there was no credit cards like that when I was, growing up. Experian wasn't even a thing. It was a failed internet thing that was dealing with dog products. So if you can understand my growth and my vision on and my timeline of existence in this political world, and looking at how finances and how money used to be here, used to get your bigger bang, it terrifies me as a parent. And even I'm not being funny or anything like that, but you're young enough to be one of my kids. And if I
am, yeah.
And if I was talking to you, I'd be like, listen, I get what you're saying. I'm proud of you that you made these type of investments, because the world that we're going into, and I'd say this to my own son, like, follow this company. They're called Dynamic Robotics. Follow that company, because everything you're seeing in that video, depending on what sector of work you're doing, that is your real competition. They've got robots now that can do a backflip, bro. They can break dance. I'll send you the video after the show. And when I keep trying to say, bro, we're looking at what Andrew Yang was saying, that I'm just surprised that nobody put Andrew Yang in their no Democrat chose to put.
That's the problem with voting Democrat, though, AC, because there's an establishment, and Andrew Yang and people like Bernie Sanders, the Democratic Socialists, they are not in favor with the establishment. The establishment wants the corporatists. They want the Obamas. They want the Bill Clintons, even the Joe Bidens. They want the smooth guys, the guys who are going to be calm, cool. They're going to keep everything. They're going to keep the environment nice and calm. Not like Trump, who, I got to make this deal. And no, we're going to tear this up and get something better and rock the goddamn boat. You know what I'm saying? But, man, prayers. Like, I'm just thankful that I have a mother who was able to leave behind for me generational wealth. She has multiple properties for me that I can sell. we went in. Well, I put $50,000 in on a housing development. We bought the land. We already got quarter lot. We already got 4 lots approved. I'm trying to get well, I already got the contractor and the home designer under contract. Like I could really be rolling in some money by this time next year, AC.
Yeah, and
Like I'm telling you, by 2027, you might see I might be going to Le Mans live. Like I might be broadcasting from Le Mans live. I'm dead serious.
bro, I'm gonna say it like this.
But if you don't got like if you don't, and that's why I'm so thankful for my mother. I thank God for my mother educated me and she's put me in this type of position. Like if you don't have that generational wealth coming behind you, like what you're talking about with your kids, AC, you're screwed.
Yeah,
You are screwed.
yo,
Especially if you don't have education.
yeah, yeah. And at the end of the day, my son went in the direction of hooking up with prominent developers. I said the real estate game is a lick if you're talking to most people at a church. Yeah, I'm trying to get a house and I'm trying to flip it. Nah, that's not where the money is.
No, it's in the land.
The money is in the land because with the land, depending on what code you can get, you can build 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 times above that. And then you're going to start to see your value because now you're a developer. And if you develop this building, you bring this building and you have a price point per unit, bro, you looking at that money per unit every month, the total. Multiply that by 12. That's how much money you're making in a year. So companies are making trillions of dollars easily. When you look at some of these streaming platforms and you look at that little $12, $13, $14, $14.99 a month fee, then you find out how many people they have. Then you look at that and multiply it by that number, and you're like, whoa, this is billions. Then you multiply that by 12. They're making billions a month, trillions a year. And they're not going to need humans.
No.
They're not going to need them because that dynamic company is telling you. That dynamic company, what these robots are doing, the bipedal ones and the four-legged ones, you're talking military uses, delivery uses, Amazon uses, food delivery uses.
I really think we need to, before we get to the labor, together as an international community, we need to come together as one, and we need to draft some legislations for the use of androids in a combat zone. I do not want like there cannot be no android tanks or just like android suicide or excuse me well I mean that's the name of it. No android suicide drones that can actually just fly over and independently verify and pick out targets and then get them out of there however they do. Like, no, I think we need some legislation around a treaty or a convention around that. And then domestically, there has to be a conversation had. Like, there has to be a real conversation around AI because people are people are going to lose. Period. For every AI that gains a position, or for every AI that goes or goes into use for a company, that's another person that loses a job.
Yep. No.
Okay, and then you got the AI robots. I showed you that. I sent you that clip the other day with the dude literally watching a robot cut grass while he's standing there with his weed whacker in his in the back of his truck. and he can't do nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, damn.
Yeah.
People are screwed.
And the crazy thing is like this. Here in New York, Mamdani's gonna have a big problem once he comes in.
Yep. Because he got to deal with those AI developers out there. Those AI developers are running the city.
Yeah,
You seen that? You know about the AI pendant?
No, what's that one?
Or it's called AI best friend. It's literally a dude. He pumped he got $50 million to invest into his startup, and it's an AI friend essentially. It's an AI personality that you wear around your neck, and it talks to you.
Yeah. I've seen different versions of that. In the video that I sent you, where the dude hacked and jailbroke his AI best friend to find out, is AI extremely dangerous? And that's when it was still his best friend, but he was like, if I wanted to turn you off and destroy you, would you harm me? Best friend was like, yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Would you harm 10? Yes. 100? Yes. Would you harm 1 million people for you to stay alive? Yes. So I'm just like, okay, that's scary within itself. But when I'm talking about one of the issues that Mamdani's gonna have is he's gonna have this fight with MTA, right? MTA and Homeland Security and NYPD want to use these AI buses to attach cameras on to the facial recognition software onto the buses, and the AI will alert the nearest police officer that there is someone with a warrant or or wanted for questioning, hops on a bus, hops on a New York City bus, and as the buses are going down the street, they're taking pictures of everybody walking, even if you're sitting in a parked car. The problem is that these AI buses have told the police of people who are in the area who have warrants where this person wasn't that person but kind of looked like him and had on similar clothing as the last time that this person was seen or whatever. And it caused a couple of people to get arrested. Police jump out on them. They're with their family, guns drawn on them, and all of this other kind of stuff. That's part of it. The other half of it is that MTA outsourced its fees. Like you don't have this new Omni card. This Omni card is a separate company run by a totally different company that's actually under a federal investigation because of overcharging, overdrafting, just all kind of problems. And they have it within their policy that if you tap the subway thing and it keeps taking your money, it may not show up on the card, but when you refill a card, the company says you owe them. And this is who MTA outsourced its the company that does the fees. Like what you feel what I'm saying? And then MTA saying in January they want to up the fare because of they're claiming all of these improvements. So if it's all of these improvements, why did you have to outsource another company to deal with the payments?
No, absolutely. Like I said, see, with the coming aid, or rather not, or rather, the close future. I was about to say the distant future. Um, the near future is not looking good, but I am hopeful that people with a socialist mindset, or not even a socialist mindset, but with a common sense mindset. Who, and I'm looking at somebody like AOC, because I don't believe she's a corporatist. Okay, because people like Gavin Newsom, all these other folks, they're gonna do what their corporate sponsors tell them to do. So if that corporate money is flooding in because they get to lay off people and cut back on hours, they're gonna do what they're not gonna raise this issue then. But I'm hopeful. But I'm hopeful that we're gonna have the leaders to deal with this situation. But to the next topic, AC. So some news came out, or rather, let me give you and the people the backdrop. Last month, Stephen Miller and Katie Miller. For those of you who don't know, this is Stephen Miller, who many people, including myself and AC, we believe he is the current shadow president of the United States of America. He is the deputy chief of staff in the White House. Um, Last month, him and Katie Miller, who you see here on his arm, they moved out of their Arlington home and put it on the market for about $3.7 million, which, according to Realtors.com, and let me put up the picture right now. Yeah, here it is. According to Realtors.com, it's $850,000 over the estimated value. So they decided to leave this home because they said they were getting terroristic threats, and people were handing out flyers saying my husband is a bad person from Germany in World War II. Let me say it like that. People were saying that the Millers are evil, and people were being anti-Semitic. And some lady walked past my house and she put thumbs down to me. Like, what does that mean? We just didn't feel safe. So they moved onto a military base into a home that's paid for by taxpayer dollars. And then, like I just said, they're selling their home for $3 million. Well, it has come out now, AC, that was a crap. I mean, there was a load of bull crap. It was a load of bull crap. No, there were no terroristic threats. The police even came out and did a report and said this lady is full of crap. Like, like these were mundane drawings on the ground. But let me read this report from the Independent. Katie Miller, a conservative podcaster, former Doge member, and the wife of senior Trump administration official Stephen Miller, is reportedly facing pushback from the Arlington Police Department after calling authorities because she felt threatened by local protesters. In September, Miller, 34, reportedly called police after a group of protesters wrote messages in chalk outside of the couple's home, voicing opposition to her husband, the White House deputy chief of staff, for policy, who is largely credited with being the architect of Trump's highly controversial immigration policy. One of the chalk messages read, "Stephen Miller is destroying democracy." Another said, "DEI enriches all." On Fox News, Miller described them as terroristic threats and doxing. Those are quotes from her. But law enforcement appears to have a different opinion, according to a police report obtained by Zateo. Shout out to Mehdi Hassan, claiming, quote, "The messages were non-threatening and alluding to political issues such as immigration, transgender rights, DEI, and white supremacy." The chalk messages at the Millers appeared to, and by the way, that was the end of the quote. The chalk messages at the Millers appeared after the family had been facing months of protests from locals, because they were telling them to get the hell up out of our community. We don't want y'all people here. A protester who had reportedly distributed leaflets in the neighborhood that identified the house address of the Millers and condemned Stevens' work. A group called the Arlington Neighbors United for Humanity had written Instagram posts denouncing Stevens' work in the. They're not, man, this article not even calling him Mr. Miller. That's crazy. But they denounced Stevens' work in the Trump administration and blaming them for hurting the community. The group, ANUFH, took responsibility for the chalking at the Miller's house on social media, claiming all the messages were thoughtful and peaceful and that at no point did they interact with the Millers. Quote, this is, quote, "Since we were in the neighborhood, Stephen and Katie Miller's heavily armed security team greeted us and explicitly told us that we were legally allowed to chalk on the sidewalks, which we did. The group, quote, We graciously obliged their request to not chalk directly in front of the Millers' home, despite it also being a public sidewalk. Yet, shortly after the chalk incident, the Millers moved out of the neighborhood. In October, the Millers put their $3.7 million house on the market and moved into a taxpayer subsidized military housing after the local protesters' actions made it unsafe for the couple's three children. Unfortunately, it's become pervasive in our society. Is that people can't look past politics. All they do is, I mean, this lady can't talk or she can't write. All they do is they see red. Katie told Fox News' Ruthless podcast in November. But girl, if you don't shut up, if you don't shut the hell up, this girl was on. She was on Piers Morgan, telling somebody, I'll look into your paperwork. I'll have your family deported." Shut up. And now, like that, it just makes me truly pissed off, sickened to my stomach. The fact that my taxpayer dollars are going into funding these two people's living space. That when they turn the key in the lock of that house, or in the lock of that house, it's a house I'm paying for, AC. It's a house you're paying for, AC. What's your reaction to these two goofballs?
They're just disgusting individuals.
And this is with the backdrop of Trump talking about the Somalian welfare fraud, the massive fraud, and then you got these two goofballs. And said they about to sell their house for almost $4 million, and then live off the taxpayers.
Yeah, because they used a BS excuse to try to claim that their lives are in danger. Like, seriously? Seriously. You don't think there's people sitting around that man's house or within very, very close proximity of that man's house that are part of his security? If Cash Patel was able to get his girlfriend security, are we seriously, and his wife and them don't have, presidential style security? So it's like, miss me with that. You were never in fear. I believe, because of your affiliation with the government and, all of these agencies that can spy on people and like that, satellites and everything else. You know who your neighbors are. You know who the people are who are protesting. You know people who every last one of them are. You know their credit scores, their date of birth, everything about the people, even the chalking. And you said, you know what? We're not even going to do nothing about that. We're going to profit off it. We're going to sell this home. And after we sell it, we're going to make a profit. We're going to buy a bigger and better home. Else to where no one knows where we live. So the only reason why you're moving is because everybody knows where you live. And you found a way to profitize off of people knowing where you live. So at the end of the day, you're a disgusting individual. Your wife is a disgusting individual. So they get no sympathy at all. No.
Absolutely, AC. Two of the most disgusting individuals I've ever seen, and like, look at Steven, bro. I've never seen him he's genuinely happy with this nutcase of a lady. And they genuinely have, they completely fit each other, AC.
Yep.
The two of them are complete bigot nutcases. 1000%. But I'm going to let God deal with the Millers. we're gonna move on to the final topic of the show. You brought it up earlier. The United States. I guess there might have been drugs mixed into the oil or something. I don't know. But the United States has now escalated to seizing an oil tanker from the Venezuelans. One second. I'm looking for the article. Where is it? Hold on. God damn, where is the article? Okay, I don't got the article, but my bad. But from what I've heard, the Coast Guard seized this oil vessel off the coast of Venezuela. Hold on. I want to be accurate. Let me find an article quickly. Let me just find a quick article. But what I do know is Donald Trump, and I wish I had that clip. See, it is like like there's never been a more Trumpian statement. Oh, we seized a big oil tanker off the coast of Venezuela. It's a sanctioned oil tanker. It's the biggest oil tanker anybody's ever seen. The biggest oil tanker that's ever been seized. Those were his exact words. Those were his exact words on this situation. And he stated that he is going to seize even more. But here's an article from Reuters. It says the U.S. has seized a sanctioned oil tanker off the coast of Venezuela, per President Trump said on Wednesday. A move that sent oil prices higher and sharply escalated tensions between Washington and Caracas. And then, but that's pretty much what's happened thus far. The Coast Guard has seized it. This was an operation that was greenlit by Kristi Noem. So Pete Hegseth has a certain level of plausible deniability that he knew nothing about this operation. But the United States are pirates. We are pirates at this point. AC, what is the difference between the United States Navy and the Houthis? We kill people indiscriminately on boats.
Nothing.
And now we raid oil tankers. There is nothing. The United States Navy are essentially acting as pirates. And then on top of that, AC, hold on, where is it? Yep. Russia has reacted to this. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov demanded that the administration of President Donald Trump provide justification for its seizure of a Venezuelan oil tanker this week. Now, obviously, Russia has they don't even have an ass to sit on when you talk about striking people without legal justification. But as tensions have soared between the U.S. and the South American nation in recent months, quote, I really hope the United States, although they consider themselves entitled to conduct such operations, will somehow explain, out of respect for other members of the world community, what facts led them to take such actions, Lavrov said, Russia's TASS news agency on Thursday. Quote, there is too little information here because I do not know how the United States views the Venezuelan situation, except that President Donald Trump has spoken publicly demanding regime change. But there's also another problem with this, AC. Chevron. We still have American oil, we have American oil companies right now down there in Venezuela buying Venezuelan oil. Chevron is coming out and condemning what the administration did. So I want to know. Oh my God! There's just so many layers of fucked up. Oh God, I cursed. My bad, YouTube. My bad. But there's just so many layers of illegality. Yeah, man. Nah, man. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But AC, what's your reaction to this? On top of the fact, this is supposed to be about drugs. This is not supposed to be about seizing oil. At least what they said. They're saying that this is sanctioned oil, but from what I know, they don't conduct those operations like this. And then AC, after they made this move, Denmark has come out and stated that the United States is a national security threat. So I want to say that again. a member of NATO, a European nation, has come out and said the United States is a national security threat, and have said that they are going to up their defense spending for their Navy and their air service. I don't like what I'm seeing, bro.
Yeah,
And
that
what's
gets
gonna happen next? I said it last week on the show. Cuba, Colombia, because Trump said it today. He said Colombia is next. Cuba, Colombia, Ecuador, Mexico, they're gonna get together and form a defense pact.
Yep.
I'm telling you. And then I dare Donald Trump to have the balls to do this shit that he's doing to off the coastline of these countries. At that point, the Republicans, I think, will hold him in check because they don't want to. They would not want to kick that nest. But, and I said it last week, I'm gonna say it again. But Fortress USA is dead. We are not safer in this world with Donald Trump and his policies. But
Yeah.
AC, you go ahead. What's your reaction to us seizing this oil tanker, as well as the broader global reaction?
Well, from the local standpoint first, where my thing is, what kind of boat? What did the Coast Guard come in there with to just say we're seizing this ship? Like, what was
Well, they had a warrant. The DOJ gave them a warrant to do it because they are sanctioning Venezuelan oil.
okay?
But this is still not how this is not how it's conducted though. I've never heard about it being conducted like this, where they have military go down there and seize the ships.
Yeah, but for me, it's like from every time I think about the Coast Guard, I'm thinking about an orange and white uniform. You feel what I'm saying? Rescue mission, some law enforcement.
Right. Yeah, that's what they're for. Rescue missions, interdicting drug boats.
Yeah, yes,
You know what I'm saying?
stuff like that. But I'm struggling to think, what did they use to go after this oil tanker? Like, was it a fleet of helicopters and these dudes?
I saw a video. There was one helicopter involved. I know that for a fact.
And what dudes just jumping out the helicopter on the lines and with the M16s or whatever, guns ready to blaze, and they just ran up in everybody, hands down, get on the ground, yelling stuff like that, and just seized it after they cuffed people up and things like that and let them know. But that's the part that's messing with me, because it was done by the Coast Guard. And in my lifetime of knowing what the Coast Guard is, having family members and friends who do the whole Coast Guard thing and stuff like that, they're like, nah, bro, it's really nothing like that. It's not like the Coast Guard of the 80s and stuff like that, when we were out battling, drugs and stuff like that. No, it's really nothing. It's more rescues than anything, and just training missions and all of this kind of stuff. And I was like, oh, okay. But then to hear that the Coast Guard was used to take a oil tanker, I'm like, whoa. That right there would be a sign that tells me things are spiraling way out of control. Because you couldn't use the real military or the real Navy, because you have these issues with these boat strikes. And we're just finding out that it was really more than one boat that had survivors that they double tapped. So the military is like on pause right now. So you couldn't use them to do this illegal thing. knowing that that video just dropped. And now that the clarity for me, which you
So they
enlightened.
had to use the Homeland Security side.
Yes. So you had to be even more corrupt and use the Coast Guard. Now, the Coast Guard standard may not be the same as the military standard when it comes down to illegal orders. It can all just come down to no, we were just given bad intel. So whatever reason that they use to go after this liner is subject for congressional hearings ASAP, knowing that the rest of the world just upped the stakes on their posture uh, against the USA in what the USA is doing in Pete Hegseth's Caribbean war, and what the crazy stuff he's doing down there in your neck of the woods that you keep, you know, talking about. But I'm gonna say this, man, make that voice even louder. Expose these dudes on this platform, because what Pete Hegseth is doing, it's coming out. It's all Pete Hegseth. So whatever's going on down there, I guess you can really expose what America and the military and things like that that enlighten us, open that up. And with this country now saying they're gonna up their military budget, and this is one of our allies, or supposed to be allies, that's now taking a defensive posture against the USA. That right there tells you that the congressional hearings need to happen. Republicans, y'all gotta wake up. Y'all gotta wake up. They're y'all slowly waking up, but it's not fast enough. You know, it's definitely not fast enough. The voters out there, I don't care if you're a Republican. I don't care if you're one of those extreme America First. I agree with you on many of the America First talking points that you guys have. I'm in 100% lockstep with some of those talking points. I like many of those talking points over progressive talking points, because for me, it's how do you pay for that? How are you going to pay for that? It's a great idea, but how do you pay for that? So, you know, where I am in my timeline of seeing things, I see correct talking points in most sides except MAGA, except what's going on with these people. And listen, wake up. This is crazy. This is how global wars start. If we go back to, the thing that me and Marky was
World War
talking
Two.
about. Yeah, World War II. You took
Okay, Japan
a
invaded Manchuria, but at the
yeah,
time, the League of Nations did not have the balls to stand up and check them. Then, Hitler, also observing what his Axis partners are doing, he goes into Czechoslovakia. He go, Greece then tries to push up, or excuse me, Italy then tries to push up on Greece.
yeah.
Then, but then what I just said earlier, about the defense pact.
I'm
Britain
with
and
that.
France, seeing this, they created a defense pact with Belgium and Poland.
Yeah, I'm with the South American defense pact, because then once the Democrats get back in power, now you can make a strong ironclad agreement with the South American defense pact, which then strengthens America. Period. When you talk about South America, America, and North America being Canada. So if that's the case, I have
Well,
no
AC,
issues with
we
that.
in such a bad spot. Like the
Yeah,
Canadians have always been our brothers.
and
They
look at
followed us into, or matter of fact, no, excuse me, they were involved in World War II before us, but they followed us into Afghanistan and Iraq. And now with like Donald Trump essentially told them to kiss his scrotum.
No, and this is why I'm
They
talking
ain't so,
about.
so these people are not sending their sons and daughters to die for us.
No, I'm saying when a Democrat gets back in power, you make that ironclad that even if a dictator dude tried to violate it, you feel what I'm saying?
Right, yeah.
You cannot win because on both sides and every other way you're threatened. Like, where are you gonna go? You're gonna start a war with Canada, knowing that Mexico is gonna back Canada? You're gonna start a war with South America, knowing that Canada is gonna back South America? It's not a good look. So this is how you can guarantee the security of all three regions. So in a future point, my advice, I would hope that it would get out there. South America, form your pact. Because now you and America itself, whether half the population agrees to it or not, but Canada, Europe, everyone understands that where we are right now, we are a global threat. And that's
Bruh,
that's
if
almost
Panama joined,
madness for me to be an indigenous man of this country saying that my homeland is a global threat. Do you know how
no,
much that hurts me? Like, people have no idea to be an indigenous person and you're just looking at all of this stuff and you're hearing about these atrocities and knowing that part of my descendancy, like my ancestors come from Mexico, and looking at what they're doing to, you know, my ancestral cousins and brothers and stuff like that, even though I'm saying I'm not Latin American, it hurts. It hurts at a different level. So what I'm speaking on is all of Europe, if my voice hits you, all of Europe, the UN, now it's time to check Trump. Now it's time to check this dude. Say, listen, if you don't get your stuff together and leave South America alone and stop doing these things, we're going to sanction you.
are they gonna have the nuts to do it?
And that's why Hitler rose to power, because at this same
Yup.
junction, no one stepped up. You're everyone quick to do it to Putin. You're quick to do it to Putin, but you're not quick to do it to them. And these are just bullies. They don't have the cojones to stand up and duke it out with you. They gonna run, call Karen, and try to find some other authority to come and try to stop you. They're not gonna try and do it. But if there is no authority, then the rest of the world is putting a check on us until we could fix this situation ourselves. Germany, you went through it. UK, you went through it. France, you went through it. You know what I'm saying? Monarchies fell all through, Eastern Europe and things like that. So,
I mean, but we've been here before, AZ. I mean, we had the big Revolutionary War in set in the 1770s, which cost I think over 100,000 people died in that war, and it was on multiple fronts. It was in North America and it was in the Caribbean. Then you had the Napoleonic Wars that over 7 million people died in. You had battles in the Caribbean, in Europe, North America, even some of the Asian colonies. Then you had World War One, the score up to I think 10 million. Then you had World War Two, where the score, at least for military combatants, up to over 60 million. I don't want to see World War Three. I don't want to see it.
no,
Because human beings, we just get more creative at creating machines that are lethal, efficient, and reliable.
That's why I was saying, everybody go to the YouTube website, subscribe to both Democracy One, Democracy 101. Also, go to Dynamic Robots, Robotic Dynamics, because this is the future. Every one of these humans that are putting their lives on the line and talking about creating vets, and then you have to have a VA hospital, which costs money, treatment to the soldiers, because PTSD is real and things like that. It's cost effective, and it removes the human element from going to war, because the war is no longer fought and lives are lost. You're losing hardware. It's a video game. You know what I'm saying? So when you're looking at it from that perspective, there's a real life, real need push for AI and AI generated robots. And the AI may be just limited to the task, being able to think on the fly and make the adjustments that you need to make to get the job done. So the military, you guys may not, there may not be a need for military moving forward. So we're going to be looking at a whole new different dynamic as far as how wars are fought, how we're going to move forward. And to be perfectly honest with you, a third world war might be imminent, but the cost of human lives is going to be extremely minimal. In my opinion, I just think so.
I don't think so, AC. And I'm
just looking at the tech from a technological standpoint, and things like that. It's I just can't.
No, but I don't think in this next world war that the Geneva Conventions or international law, particularly on the if it started under Trump, because all of this is me, or all of this is prefaced that Trump is going to start this conflict. If that happens, I don't think international law is going to be respected and observed. And I think you could be what you're going to see is the American manufacturing might that we have always been known for. It is going to spring back alive, and we're going to be pumping out our own suicide drones. You see what Russia is doing? Russia launches over 5,000 suicide drones into Kiev. Just into Kiev a day. Bro, imagine if the U.S. was in a fight or die situation where they had South America, where they had Cubans invading Florida, and they occupy Miami, and then you got motherfucking Denmark and Russia and the New Order in the EU to sailing across, firing off fucking missiles.
Well, what I'm trying to tell you is, go to the website. It's called Boston Dynamics.
Well, no, I don't think we're there yet, AC. Because I've seen some of those robots. One of them, they actually had them tested out with some Marines, where if a person is walking, they're supposed to alert, or if they see an enemy or something like that, walking or standing, they're supposed to alert, and then set off an alarm or something like that case. I think they were supposed to walk towards them or something like that. But if the Marines jumped around or if they laid down on the ground, or if they stood on their two hands, the AI couldn't recognize what was going on. Now, obviously, more and more years of testing is gonna come through, but I don't
Here's what
think
I'm saying.
I don't think AI is developed enough to deal with real world physical situations yet.
Here's what I'm saying to you.
But hold on, AI is very efficient. If you pay attention to what's going on in Ukraine, what the Ukrainians have done, they're using AI to plot to plot out where Russian positions are when they fire off their drones or when they send their drones with grenades over the top of them.
So this is what I'm saying to you, bro. When the the points that I'm making off of these autonomous robots that are on that Boston Dynamics are working on,
Yeah.
is this. The programming part, that's going to be a ways off. But what we're talking about is what I'm talking about is the range of movement, the ability
Right. Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
to do
The
these.
robotics part of it
Yeah, the
is
robotics
yeah.
part, just the grunt work of picking something up, walking it over here, dropping it over there. That level of efficiency. You feel what I'm saying? The ability to turn over. You know what I'm saying?
But how much does it
To
cost
roll
to
over.
build one of those, AC? I
Well,
don't think can you mass produce those to at least like 100,000 robot personnel?
this is what I'm saying. You may not need that many because if these things are heavily fortified on some like Captain America type metal, vibranium type metal, you know what I'm saying? Then
Mm-hmm.
you're looking at something that's mobile, that's heavily armored, and has the ability to plot. If you fired at it, it can see it. I can move out the way. I can go into a sort of defensive position that allows it not to impact me, but skate off me. I roll up, get up, now I'm running back at you. We're talking something like a real life transformer that can do real life damage once the thing is fully ready. And I don't need a lot. I can probably go and destroy your whole country with 15 of them. Just put them just have one in a strategic place, or just have them in pairs. 16 of them. Drop
Damn.
them, drop them in your country. We will demolish everything, take out your heads of state, run through your military. Bro, it's like, man.
But thank God vibranium don't exist.
Yeah, and that's my only point to say. Thinking of the future applications, thinking of where investments go. If Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump are looking to in their big beautiful bill, why would you increase the military budget that much? And remember back in the days before robotics and stuff existed, when these presidents, these warmongering presidents and warmongering chiefs of staff and things like that, wanted to pass these budgets, the military was like, "Nah, we don't need all of this money. What are we supposed to do with all of this? Oh, we want you to do. No, we don't need all of that. We're in a peacetime. We're in a peacetime right now. If we're still in peacetime and you're agitating things, it makes sense to increase the military budget to get companies like this, to get these AI companies that they made that are like the 7 major companies that are upholding our economy. when you think about it, what's better for authoritarian president or future authoritarian president than to say, all right, I have soldiers that can obey the that can that will obey the law and understand that if I give them an illegal order, yada yada yada. If there's a programming factor into it, then there's got to be a hack. There's got to be some sort of back door. In these back doors, I move the National Guard into a city. I can have the National Guard do what the hell I want them to do because they're not humans, and I can just upload new standards and stuff like that coming from their chiefs that they got to follow and painting it a certain way. Write the programming in a language that thing doesn't believe it's breaking the law or breaking one of its principal laws that govern how it works. This is where all that sci-fi stuff comes into play because it's that dangerous, because when you look at these type of things, this is how real it is. It's years away. We're within 20 years away from that. And people have to really, really understand that. There is no governance over AI or the development of AI. And some early developers of AI are like, wait a minute, this thing is moving way, way too fast. People are integrating it into too much of their life, and it's scary because there are no limits to it. And now they want to encrypt AI
and
into
AC.
our private information.
AC,
Yeah.
the Australia, they just banned social media for minors. Um I wouldn't I would support that in the United States of America because you got 10 year olds and 12-year olds that have AI girlfriends and boyfriends. They have full-blown relationships with these chatbots. That is not healthy. And then hold on, I don't want to be inaccurate, but I believe, hold on one second. Child commission. So, AI hold on one second. Yes, yeah, here it is. It says mother says AI chatbots encourage their sons to unalive themselves. So multiple of their of this poor lady's sons decided to unalive themselves because an AI encouraged them to.
That is
Hell
hilarious.
no. Hell no. Like, I tell you what, when I was 12 years old, like I agree. There were some things I should not have been seeing on the internet. Like we were full blown into corn. I was watching at that age we were watching corn. And we could pull it out whenever we could pull up the porn whenever we wanted on our phone, whenever we wanted. As soon as you got that phone. Today, bro, like you got little kids getting sucked into relationships with chatbots? That has to be illegal.
Yeah.
If we're gonna do this thing of because these chatbots, I've done some research into them. These are adult personalities.
Yeah.
They don't talk they don't talk like how a 10-year-old talks. They talk or at least they type like an adult personality. That's some excuse me. This is some scary times, but I would be in full support of a social media ban for the kids. You got anything left, AC?
No, not really. Not on that. It's just people have to wake up. And just like I'm going to keep bringing this man's name up because till this day, I don't hear people, other politicians on either side talking about stuff like this. you're going to have some sort of um, uh, some sort of like payment that you're going to have to deal with when all of this stuff comes online, because what's going to happen when all of these people lose their jobs?
I think and we had this conversation before over the phone.
Yeah.
AI and robots are going to solve racism because there is going to be a lower class of this country. We were just talking about it earlier. The people who, like me and like your kids, do not have generational wealth coming behind them. Those people are screwed. And Juan said it earlier. The middle class is gone. It's over with. Most people are working two jobs now. Juan said he read the report saying it was going to be by 2030 that most people were working two jobs. Most people I know are already working two jobs. Okay?
Yep. It's
So God,
accelerated. Everything is accelerated. And
everything.
and this is kind of what these people wanted. These tech giants. They got into politics. Once they got into politics through their lobbyists and things like that, and promising all of this money, because once a tech company goes public, you're talking billions from the first 5 minutes. Everyone involved is a billionaire, depending on the service.
And that's the problem, though, AC, because the majority of this year's GDP is being held up by AI.
Yeah.
The majority of construction that and manufacturing jobs has been yielded this year is from AI.
Yeah.
And I said we're supposed. Matter of fact, we're gonna have that conversation about the AI bubble at some point in the future. But
And
well, I
that's
mean,
one
we
thing I
pretty.
give a I wanted to say that's one thing I give AOC mad props on, because she has been, if despite my disagreements with her at times, I can say that since she's come into politics and stuff like that, and come into her own and understanding how to like really maneuver through the systems, where and when to choose your messaging so you don't ruffle the corporate feathers and shit like that. Um, she's been super effective at that. Since the whole AI thing, she's been the most consistent person in all of Washington who's been raising the red flags about AI, and you know where we need to really start to look at it, and why is our economy uh, supported by these 6 or 7 AI companies? How did they get so entrenched into our economy? Yeah, we understand Donald Trump's tariffs have tore everything else down,
Citizens United.
you know, but it's just like, wow. And she's been crazy consistent on that message, and rightfully so, because it affects her in her age group, you in your age group, and then y'all children. It affects my youngest daughter. It affects my middle daughter. My son is like 30 years old right now, so I don't know how much that's really affecting him, because he's found his niche in real estate and working with these developers. But my other two daughters, I don't know how it's really gonna affect them. So
Nah, most deaf. These some scary times, but I think we're gonna be all right. The world usually makes out alright. I think we're gonna be alright, AC.
Yeah,
But
there's
thank you
usually
so
those
much.
corrections.
Absolutely, absolutely. Maybe after a World War II. But my brother AC, it was great talking to you as always. My good brother, my co-host, my XO, my co-captain. Any final words before we head out?
um, if this is your first time visiting Democracy 101, I hope the conversation left you with a feeling that, okay, I dig this because they gave us, they read it and then they had real people's reaction to it. I'm a chef, but I also love politics. I'm a father. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, I don't. I like and I enjoy the conversations here because for an old guy like me to still be able to chop it up with a member of the younger generation, and this person is a prime example of where I would like all of the younger generation to actually be mindset wise and looking at their finances and their future. Unfortunately, not everybody's there. A lot of people are caught up in a lot of nonsense and things like that. But overall, it's always a pleasure conversating with you and things like that. And just moving forward, let's get the message out.
Most def. I appreciate you so much, my brother AC. Shout out to everybody in the chat, everybody that came through today, all my STN brothers. Just Ask Juan, B3 Picks. We're gonna be on B3. Well, nah, I might not have time to go to B3 Picks tomorrow, but I'm gonna see. As always, shout out to the STN, and I am going to let you people rock out to the sounds of my home island, St. Croix, United States Virgin Islands, Twin City. This is our sound. This is Stanley and the Sleepless Nights. This is our Christmas music every single year since from the time I was a little child. We head out on the road and we follow Stanley from east all the way to west as he plays his iconic Christmas songs. He's a legend. He's been doing it since the 1960s. He and his guys are still doing it to this day in their old age. So much respect to these pioneers. But once again, thank you for pulling up. And AC, we're gonna check them. We're gonna chop it up next time. Okay, take it easy.
Johnny get New Year coming. And if you want to be merry, then guava berry. And if you get it digital, then cruise and bitters. Mama make your Johnny get Christmas coming. Mama make your Johnny get Christmas coming. And if you want to be merry, then guava berry. And when you get it digital, then cruise and bitters. coming, Christmas coming, New Year coming. Mama, 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 Christmas coming. Mama, 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 Christmas coming. And if you want to be merry, drink guava berry. I wanna get in the jitters, drink push and bitters. Mama, beg your Johnny, get Christmas coming. Mama, beg your Johnny, get New Year coming. Christmas coming, New Year coming. Christmas coming, New Year coming. So mama, beg your Johnny, get Christmas coming. Mama, beg your Johnny, get New Year coming. And if you want to be merry, drink guava berry. And when you get in the jitters, drink push and bitters.